Meet our teams.
Are you ready, Fancy?
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the esports arena right here in the heart of the Boulevard in Riyadh. You're of course watching Gamers8 featuring Rainbow Six, and we are starting to fly through this tournament. We're starting to fill up those playoff spots as we look to see who will become our second ever Gamers8 Rainbow Six champion. Now, we've of course got M80 and now BDS waiting in the wings. Who will join them?
متحمسين جدا اننا نعرف مين بيكون الابطال اللي بيوصلون الى البلاي اوف. اعزائنا المشاهدين، شاهدنا اليوم وشاهدنا بالامس فريق M80 وتيم BDS بيوصلون الى البلاي اوف، لكن الان المباراه هذه راح تحدد مين اللي بيتوجه الى البلاي اوف معاهم كالفريق الثالث، او انه بيكون نهايه قصتهم معنا في موسم الجيمرز في بطوله رينبو 6 سيج. كلنا مره متحمسين للحظه هذه.
Now, we've actually got some more fans in the building here because our lower bracket final in Group A is a rematch. Are we ready to bring out our teams?
I'm ready. أعزائنا المشاهدين، الآن الفريق الأول اللي راح يظهر أمامكم في المسرح فريق ما هو غريب عن المسرح هذا أبداً. شاهدناهم في الأمس في المباراة الافتتاحية، أتوقع كلكم تعرفون مين نتكلم عنه، بس خلونا نشوفهم ونرجع لكم مرة ثانية. فريق فالكونز هم أبطال منطقة الشرق الأوسط بالكامل، هم الأبطال الحاصلين على المركز الثاني في موسم الجيمرز السنة الماضية، والآن جايين ياخذون المركز الأول وجايين يناضلون قد ما يقدرون عشانه. الريماتش هذا بيكون من أقوى ما يكون. فريق NiP هزمهم، لكن الآن بيعيدون لهم الكرة.
Falcons, of course, did not start this tournament well. A 2-0 defeat, but they recovered in tremendous fashion, sending home our current world champions in G2. Let me just check something. Falcons fans, let me hear you.
جمهور جاهز وكلنا جاهزين. اللحظة هذه بتكون جدا مهمة، لأن في حالة خسارة هذه المباراة راح تنتهي قصة أحد من الفريقين، في حالة فوزهم توجه إلى النهائيات مباشرة.
Let's welcome onto the stage their very dangerous opponents. Back on the stage once again, it's Ninjas in Pyjamas! Now this team will of course be feeling good as they make their way down onto the stage here, because they've already beaten their opponents once already. Yesterday, right here on this very stage, they did beat Falcons 2-0. And I did touch base with their coach coming into this. He's expecting maybe a bit more of a challenge now, especially after seeing the Falcons in action against G2 yesterday. So really, we might expect a bit more of a fight on our hands.
جيم بيكون مختلف تماماً عن اللي شاهدناه في المباراة الافتتاحية. فريق نينجاز ان بيجامز هم أبطال العالم السابقين. هذا الفريق قدر أن يفتتح البطولة بأفضل طريقة بعد ما واجهوا فريق فالكونز، والآن راح يرجعون يسوون الريماتش مرة ثانية، وبيكون آخر مباراة لهم في حالة أنهم ما قدروا يفوزونها، أو بتكون تكملة مسيرتهم معنا في البلاي أوفز.
Fancy, I don't like to put you on the spot, but who's taking this one?
Can't really tell, but I know one thing though, it's going to be such a good match, and I can't wait for it.
Okay, good stuff. All right, let's get into this one. Guys, best of luck. Please do take your seats and get set up for this one. Remember, the winner of this one goes through to the playoffs. The loser drops out of the tournament. Who's going to take it? Crossing over now to our amazing casters.
مين بيكون الفائز؟ مين بيكون الفريق الثالث اللي يتوجه معنا إلى البلاي أوفز؟ المباراة هذه راح تحدد، ما راح يكون عندنا أي فرصة ثانية. خلينا نشوف مين بيكون البطل على طول مع المعلقين.
Ian Fancy, thank you very much indeed. It is myself, XR Troika, joined here
on the casting desk with Demo. Demo, a little bit of deja vu potentially. This is how we kicked off yesterday.
It is. Different map though this time around.
Different set of maps.
It's not the same set of maps. We are going to go Border first of all, which we did see NiP play this yesterday against M80. Didn't work out quite as what they expected to. It's a bit of a surprise to see NiP actually go to a map like Border, because we kind of mentioned about NiP and the playstyle, Ollie. It did feel at stages yesterday it was a little bit behind the times. A map like Border, you need to play the meta on that map. And I just worry is this too big of a risk?
Is it a risk? Potentially. I think NiP are going into this one with their eyes wide open. They know what to expect coming out of the Falcons now. NiP, they have faced a little bit of adversity yesterday against M80. It wasn't the most straightforward game of Siege that we've ever seen. It was one of the better games that we've seen so far inside of the competition. And I think that they're going to be going into this one knowing that, okay, we've beaten Falcons once. Falcons knocked out G2. Does that say more about G2's current state than Falcons' current state? There's probably a whole hour-long discussion you could go into on that one. And I know that you would love to, seeing as that you're a little bit of a G2 fan. But I think NiP are going into this one knowing what to expect.
Yeah, it's obviously we can use Falcons yesterday, of course, against G2. G2 yesterday were not good. I'll be the first one to stand up and say, yeah, they were way below the standard, but give credit to Falcons where it was due. You know, they made G2 look bad. That was the power of Falcons. This is going to be a different playstyle for them. G2 and NiP play very, very differently. We know that NiP a little bit more of a slower team. They'll take their time to set up their approaches. I mean, NiP yesterday, I think they dealt with Falcons' kind of aggressive nature very, very well. NiP, we talked about the opening kill stat that they dominated, Ollie. 16 opening kills. 15 of those were in favor of NiP. That sums it up. That's all you need to know.
NiP were devastating on that opening KD. That was something that we sort of commented on at the time, and it was a very consistent theme throughout the course of the game. Now, on the flip side, Falcons, they didn't do very well inside of that opening kill. And it wasn't just
I think they were nervous. I think they were nervous.
First game
yeah.
nerves, wasn't it? I think they were nervous. I think that certainly comes into it. P9 is someone that I want to kind of focus into a little bit on the side of Falcons if we're going to start going down this sort of opening kill sort of dialogue. P9 did fantastically well yesterday against G2, and I think he almost had the leash taken off him.
Well, not in the first. The first game, obviously, against NiP, it was a little bit shaky. And
yes.
I think there was talks of potentially Valentino maybe having to go in just because he was struggling. You know, obviously they have that sick man, they can use him, but nope, they stuck with P9, and look what he did against G2. You know, moments like that, I think that's going to give him the confidence boost going into today. If he plays... do we think the mentality changed between what happened at NiP compared to G2? Do you think maybe they thought, guys, let's just go out and just have fun? You know, was that maybe more of the playstyle they went against G2?
I think it was, because that's what you're going to have to do against a team like G2. G2 are very unpredictable this tournament, at least they were, because no one really knew what to expect with Gemini coming in.
Was, of course, yeah.
New player coming in, you're always going to be going into it with a bit of a question mark, especially when there's been no international siege for such a long time. And I think that in the second game, certainly Falcons maybe relaxed into it a little bit more. We've got the player stats up for P9 here. 24 kills in the series, 24-9. That's incredible. You know, he comes out of there with a 1.58 rating. He's positive 15 kills. That's the kind of performance that you're going to need out of someone on the side of Falcons. It doesn't have to be P9. It could be O-Kills, it could be Joker, it could be Jayla, it could be any one of them. Yeah. But they need that big standout performance again. They need that talisman player to all rally behind. Because when you look at the side of NiP, we know that that is just a team brimming with confidence, brimming with talent, and any single one of them can have a fantastic game. Yesterday it was Muzi, Pino, Psycho, they were all sharing a good weight of that load. Wizard, he had his moment in the sun as well. He's got a great couple of clips there with the SMG11, particularly on the Dokkaebi. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, who is it on the side of Falcons that's going to repeat that performance from yesterday?
You need someone. At NiP, sure they lost to M80. They made M80 work for it though. We had the luxury of seeing that game, and M80, it wasn't as clear-cut and dry as what probably people would think. You know, this NiP side still as dangerous on LAN as ever. And NiP, I think portions of yesterday, Ollie, they dominated. They really did dominate that M80 side for you know, a good 4 or 5 rounds in a row. That just shows the prowess and the power of this side and just how good they really are.
Absolutely, we know NiP to be a very talented team, a team that is very capable, and a tournament team at that. This is where they thrive. You know, we're getting into the meat and the bones of the tournament now. This is where you're expecting a team like NiP to, you know, continue this performance and make quite a deep run. Or they, you know, as we've seen in recent years, sometimes crash and burn. You know, they haven't been as dominant as they have in the past, that is for sure. Looks as though we've just got a little bit of a tech issue there. Potentially going to be getting us into the game quite soon, but please do bear with us. We can see the players getting all those loadouts set up. Love a good loadout setup.
You need to make sure it's set up because we've seen a few times players are, you know, pulse barbed wire, for example. We've seen that.
Unforgivable.
It is. Missing out on player background cards, which NiP didn't do yesterday.
Background cards.
It was only Pino. He was the only one who done it.
Who were we watching earlier? We were watching BDSW7M. All of the background cards, all of the new background cards as well.
Yeah.
The ones with the colourful artwork and everything like that. Not just the 2022 grey in the corner.
The proper
it looks
ones.
good though, doesn't it? I can't remember who it was yesterday that we were watching that had, was it M80? They all had the
Battle Pass one that
the
you
Battle
used.
Pass, the one that I like, the sort of flames in the background. Looks like you're at like a really good metal concert or something like that.
Kags, I'm sure, you know, is always that Kag one. So
Yeah, that CAG one's really good.
it's just, it's
The
funny.
Japan Invitational one.
That's coming up soon as well,
It's
yeah.
nice. It's like sort of fine line art, almost very black and white. That one looks quite trendy. What's your favourite? What's your go-to?
Rick and Morty.
You're a Rick and Morty fan, aren't you?
Since it came out, Rick and Morty
Yeah,
hasn't changed.
Pickle Rick.
That's me.
I like to like keep a little bit of variety going. You know.
Oh, the best skins in the game, by far. Not even close.
You don't like the you don't feel like you got a competitive disadvantage when you've got a huge head and eyes that are poking.
That's the reason
from
why I
behind
get
corners.
kills. People see a bug swing around the corner, like, what's going on?
They don't know what to do. Looks like we're going to be getting ourselves into the game right about now. We're going to be kicking things off with Border here. We've got Falcons starting off on the attack.
Falcons obviously would have had the chance to VOD review this map. We've seen NiP play it. NiP, we did feel yesterday, Ollie, they really misunderstood the grasp and how you had to hold Border in terms of the defensive capabilities. M80 were lightning quick yesterday, weren't they? They knew what to do in Border. It was a great map for them. Really showcases the you know, the way they've developed Spoit more than anything and how they played around him. And NiP just they were too static, Ollie. They were not moving around the map. If a position gets lost, they just allowed everything else to crash around them. They really need to be a little bit more proactive. Really take it to Falcons. The whole point of Border is why you try and hold every single room in the map is to make sure none of the attackers can get in the building. That's what you try and achieve.
Border really is that map where you need to have that excellent presence. And we saw NiP, they didn't do terribly on Border yesterday against M80. I think that's a real serious stylistic clash of play styles going against one another.
Yeah.
It wasn't fantastic by any means.
I mean, it was a 5-1-1 for M80, Ollie. I mean, that's
back a
pretty
little bit,
bad.
though.
I will
Give
say,
M80 the credit.
NiP, their playstyle will suit Falcons. You know, they'll be better against Falcons, see the playstyle-wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we've seen that yesterday. Falcons, it was a little bit one by one. Whenever they went up against NiP, it was one guy would go and die, another guy would go in and die. No real refrags as well. Whereas you look at M80 were pulling out 3v5s, 2v4s against NiP. Falcons need to do that today.
Looking over at the bans, we've got a Monty, Dokubi, Azami, and a Miraban.
Yeah, the bans are pretty clear, cut and dry what you would expect to see. NiP, the Monty, we know that's one that they love to have. And then obviously the Dokubi. It's not, you know, they had a lot of issues. If you look at NiP yesterday on Border against M80, Dokubi and Lion just ruined them. They couldn't do anything against them. Speaking of Spoit this morning, he was saying it was so easy. It was so easy with those two operators because they knew everything. On such a small map where, again, movements are limited, having the Dokubi call and having the Lion scans are second to none.
Looks like we've just got a little bit of a tech issue going on at the moment. I think potentially a power issue has occurred. I'm not sure what everyone can see at home, if you've still got the loading screen there waiting to get into round number 1 or not. But we are going to work to get this sorted as quickly as possible, so we hope that you bear with us and we thank you for your patience.
I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to see how Falcons are going to be able to respond. It's certainly a big day for them because this is still, it's do or die. You know, it's not the same limitations as yesterday where it was you lose the game, you've still got a chance to fire back and come up through again. This is it. You lose, you're out of the tournament today.
We're in lower bracket final here, Demo. This is really do or die. You can't afford to leave anything on the line, and maybe we could sort of cycle back a little bit and talk about the map pick and bans. Obviously, we're going into Border now as our first map. You look at the two other maps that have been picked inside of the series. We've got a cafe and then we have a villa. So NiP haven't done a terrible job there of navigating the map bans.
Yeah, they've done pretty good.
They've done pretty well. They've got a couple of maps that they were successful on yesterday.
Yeah.
It further limits what they've been giving away as well. Of course, in a tournament like this, it is important to somewhat limit the map pool that you're giving away because obviously teams are going to prep and things of that nature. So Cafe and already being played, of course, in the Falcons NiP round 1, as we maybe are going to start to call it, in those upper bracket semi-finals. Fantastic map for NiP, and I'm expecting when we get onto that map too, they're going to continue in that sort of a vein.
I think if NiP take Border today, I think it shows, well, it depends how they play it. If they've actually changed their playstyle, I'll be very, very happy for NiP because obviously if they do win here today, there is that possibility that, who knows, they could meet M8 again in the grand final. That's a potential matchup, and you'd love to see a Border again, wouldn't you, between those two sides, and see if NiP have really learned from the mistakes that they made. But it's shaping up pretty nicely. You know, BDS is there now, so we know whoever wins this game here today, they will go on to face BDS. Which is, you know, not an easy game after the display they put against W7M, who, Ollie, I didn't think W7M were going to get beat.
If you'd have asked me at the start of the day for what is your most sort of dead set guaranteed prediction, I would have had to turn my back on Europe, and I would have had to greet Latam with open arms.
They're just that team's so good.
W7M, surely they win today against BDS. And then what happens? We didn't check up. It was a team performance, no doubt about it. But there was a good couple of rounds there. I mean, it was the Brede clutch in the end, but such a fantastic team, a team that we know is very, very capable.
And then, of course, if you look at our other game, which will be coming up after this matchup, it's Latam versus NA. W7M Oxygen. To then go on to face M8, whoever wins that one. Oh, we've got some big matches coming up in the next couple of days.
We certainly do. Looks as though we're going to be getting ourselves into the game now. Once again, thank you for your patience during that short technical break.
Thank you for your patience, Ollie. Great film.
My patience comes for free. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this one now, and I'm sure that the players are all chomping at the bit to get involved as well.
I like this immediately from NiP. Look at the lineup. A lot different. We see the Lion come in, we're seeing a Ying, we're seeing a Glaz. These are operators we expect to see. These are operators we want to see. NiP were running Thatcher yesterday in Border, for goodness sake. That's what we were dealing with, Ollie. You know, it's...
We did see that, and we were quite critical of it. NiP were only good for 2 rounds on Border yesterday against W7M. Some of them were close rounds.
I want to see them hit it fast, because as well, like during the back end of that NiP M8 game, they were actually trying rushes.
Yeah.
They were playing a little bit quicker, which we questioned this team's too slow, but yeah, I think now with the lineup, it makes a lot of sense. Falcons, though, looks as if they're looking to play a little bit more aggro. Like 1 player on a doorway, 1 player in the window. If anyone does go, he's going to be ready for it. This is shaping up to be an east side take. Look where Cons is at the moment as well. The Ying on sandwich window. The strongest position you can play Ying and Border is on that window. You can flash out both sides. You can roll the Candelas in towards Archives. You can flash out small box towards half wall. You will create all of this chaos. Moosey can backstab Armory on the back of that, so it will be very, very strong. And a Glaz and a window can cover off a lot of the strong angles. The CJ lad is outside. No, Psycho is ready. In goes Cons, he's going to swing in. Is he going to plant or is he going to go for the kill? He's straight in with the LMG, gets it down. The backstab right into Quibs.
This is exactly what we were asking for yesterday. We were talking about that backstab, talking about that sandwich repel. Cons already looking to get that diffuser down. There is a Solace, but there's no indication that they're on the gadget trying to figure out where that plant is going. And well, slowly but surely, it is only P9 left standing. Wizard takes him out there from the top of these metal stairs. So much better from NiP. That's exactly how to execute an attack onto that bomb site.
The penny has dropped. They finally realized that this is how you have to play Siege. You have to play fast and furious. That's the way it happens. Perfect. That's exactly what you do. Ying, it just showcases how strong she is on that sandwich window. He swung in. Generally, we're seeing plants go down, but no, it was just kills.
Well, you got to kill and then started to get the plant down. There was a prioritization list there.
Yeah, because using as a distraction for them planting archives. That's usually what you do.
I was kind of surprised to see Cons go for it straight away on the swing.
Yeah, it was very quick. Yeah,
that was even for sort of a rush standard. That was kind of pacey.
If we didn't expect it, then probably Falcons wouldn't have expected it either after the first Candela.
Falcons were expecting some sort of E-sided take, weren't we? Look at the position of the players. We had somebody in office.
Because you naturally think archives plan.
But you naturally think archives plan. Nobody thinks that it's just going to be a site cut in half with someone coming up main stairs, someone in sandwich window, and then outside on vents window.
You can also add a flare into that strat. Just if you guys want to try it at home, I'm Martha Stewart. I'm doing the cooking channel. You can fire in an Amaru going in through sandwich window and planting the window.
Yeah, that's the
stuff like that. You can go for as well.
Exciting stuff. A rapid way to get around on the board here for NiP. We're going to see a site change forced out of Falcons as well. They're going to go downstairs. Bathroom. Makes sense. They obviously, just got rolled on that top floor and maybe need a couple of rounds to think about it, figure out how they want to approach it again.
Warden is up. Haven't went for it though, which is a bit of a surprise. Surely after what's happened to them, Warden's like, yeah, get it locked in immediately. We need some backup. And look at the value the Brava drone's getting. Gets 2 pieces of equipment, one of them being the bulletproof. Joker will have to destroy his own camera. And realistically, Ollie, that's one of 2 bulletproofs that's already gone. One of them still being the pocket of P9. He hasn't placed it down.
And he was able to disable the Mozzie Pest as well. From obviously the Mozzie Pest activates and you kind of capture the drone back for your own team. So again, Wizard, tons of value out of the Brava. And this is what NiP are quite good at. They're good at finding out all this utility and setting themselves up. Their fact finding is usually quite good. Ooh. C4 shot out there midair. Psycho just waiting for his time to strike. Maybe finds a second. But no, Joker does dip himself back into office just at the right moment. But the pressure's mounting.
I think Moosey seen his life flash before his eyes there. That C4 thought it was going to blow up, but he didn't. He got it just in time. Joker takes a bit of damage, has to fall back now. He's going to go for the reinforcement onto the fountain wall, but nobody from NiP is going to capitalize on that. But realistically now for NiP, no one's in office, no one's in the hatch. Theoretically, they could just jump on the site. That could happen. We've seen Iconic do it yesterday. He was just around the site at 2 minutes. Don't know how he got there, don't know what happened, but that's something that you can exploit if teams do not have control of the hatch.
Potential for a bit of a retake here. We've got Quibs and O-Kills there just coming up the top of those metal stairs, but it's going to be very short-lived. Pino is still outside on that ventilation. O-Kills probably feels like he can't transition from the top of those metal stairs any further. And look at NiP's commitment here to the map. They've only really got Wizard inside at the moment. A lot of players being able to do quite a bit from outside. Wizard's going to wait for the sun to come through. Fenrir gadget or not, that does not matter. He's going to shut Joker down. Continuing this man count advantage here for NiP.
Yeah, 1 player downstairs, 1 player above. Just the 1 player downstairs now as O-Kills does fall. P9 has the DMR in hand. Does hit hard, Ollie, but he needs to find 5 players, and I just don't think that's feasible. There is a Brava inside the site, going to be moving in for the kill. Do they know where he is? P9 ready. Does find 1, but that does lurk. Now, everyone from NiP to his position, and Pino will pick up the remains. NiP, very clean again, Ollie. That was a lot more of a controlled execute. They know what they wanted. They took, what, maybe 20% of the map?
They didn't need to take a lot at all. Very little commitment to the map.
Took east, that was it really.
They were still catching people out on the rotations.
Yeah, you seen there was a double stack of a rotate coming up towards metal stairs.
Yep.
There was a bit of information clearly was not provided because Falcons, they had players in towards Fountain. We've seen that. We've seen what happened to the Fenrir. Why is that information not being relayed to the players flanking saying there's a guy in ventilation window? If you try and walk up the stairs, he will have an angle on you. You know, I'm surprised at that. That information should be fed.
It's almost difficult to sort of realize and come to the realization that Falcons beat G2 yesterday. And then we're seeing this. We've just seen 2 of the cleanest rounds from NiP on a border where Falcons, they've got the run of the teeth. They can pretty much bring whatever they want. They've got Valkyrie, Solace, they've got Fenrir available. They've got tons of stuff at their disposal. and they're not able to come up with these little simple solves. Like, where's the Warden? You know, look at NiP. NiP are doubling down on this now. They're going, yep, no worries, we can run this back. Doesn't matter if it's not the same site that we kick things off. Glaz and Ying is still a fantastic combination. We'll throw the Amaru in there this time as well. Cons, you're feeling yourself. Fly yourself in through a window somewhere. Go on.
Oh, yes, I love this. They're going to go straight in through the rotate hole. If the rotate hole is made, though, there's a few teams that don't make it just for this entire purpose. P9, is he aware there's going to be a Marion towards him? The Incandels go in through the bathroom drone hole. The punt is going to go down from Cons right in the window. A perfect execute from NiP. This is what it's all about. Cons has been killed, though, by the gate only as he's tried to jump back in, but it doesn't matter. He done his job. He got the plant down.
And Pino's tucked in here to the side of Tellers. He can now work this window and assist his teammates. Finds himself a second on the round. Joker, O'Kills, you've got a lot of work to do here. Gets caught out by the Nomad as he's sent back and then forth into Muzi's sights. O'Kills again going to trigger 2 out of 3 of those air jabs, getting a lot of value out of that inside of this round. The smoke is still going off. We've still got Candelas piling in, and we've still got a Glaz and an upside down repel. O'Kills, you're not got a chance at disabling that diffuser, especially with the time that is left remaining. We're just going for kills now, and it's going to be Wizard to find it. Lightning quick from NiP.
I'm starting to like this team. I'm starting to like NiP because this is right up my street. You know this is my siege all over. It's so, so good. This is the way you have to play Border. Border, it is a map where you can just cheese these rounds out. You know, I think the last time we seen a push like that was probably, what, Invite? Whenever, I think, the Mighty Gids done it with a blitz, didn't he? He jumped in and used the smokes, tries to plant right beside the sofa, but do know with the Amaru. The reason why they went for the Amaru is it will insta-break the window, so you don't have to shoot it open. So, you know, teams will obviously hear, you know, windows being shot open, you're ready for that. P9 didn't have a clue, because you don't hear that. You just hear the Gara hook, and the last thing he's probably expecting is the Amaru coming in through, you know, a ground floor window, for goodness sake, but it's a great way to do so. He's straight in, and the plant goes down immediately. Glaz in the post plant is so strong, that upside down repel, being able to obscure the vision. Look at this. Like, how do you play against this? You don't. You don't.
You can't win against that.
Oh wait, there's a Warden. Never mind, they don't bring Warden, which I don't know why they haven't fought. Yeah, we are getting absolutely rinsed by this combination of operators. Let's get the man with the glasses in, who is designed for this.
Well, they have just taken a timeout, so maybe the content of that timeout is, let's bring Warden.
Get the Warden in.
Get the Warden. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a moment to breathe. And, you know, let's start to play into this quick play meta. If that's what NiP are going to start bringing, let's bring some things to counter that.
Warden.
We've got the Warden. It's a start.
It is a start. But it doesn't really help them with the lineup that NiP have brought. This is the issue with it now.
Well, NiP can play both ways, can't they? They can either play the sort of looser fast way with the Glaz and the Ying, or they can just revert back to a little bit more default. Cons is this time going to be 6-picking onto the Ossa. So this speaks a lot more of a much more default plan.
I look at NiP and think, why were they not doing this yesterday against M80? If they learnt this overnight, I'd be really surprised. Because the way they're playing, it's as if they've done this for a few months now, Ollie. And we didn't really see that from them. It's strange to see. But they can play the meta now. They can. They've showcased now 2 rounds. You know, the classic rushes have worked. And the thing is with those rushes that they went for, you may know a team's doing it, but you can't really stop.
Not much you can do about it.
You can't do much against the Ying or the Glaz, because those operators are designed just to always win the 1v1 engagements.
NiP getting a little bit of info here, finding out Joker is going to be hiding out inside of CCTV. Does have a couple of ephemery gadgets on the wall to assist him. J-Lad, he's looking to move through. Pick of the Warden this time hasn't really worked out so far. There's obviously flashes and things like that, but there's only 3. You're not really going to gain too much value out of it. You still got a good gun, still got a C4, so you're not too down and out just yet. In this instance, J-Lad has actually opted for the shield instead. Pino getting himself into a bit of bother at the top of those E stairs. Very minimal so far from NiP. They're really taking the time with this one.
Yeah, this is where they've slowed the pace down. I wonder what the idea is from NiP. It looks as if they're maybe just trying to probe and see if there is any picks maybe lurking that could happen for them. Again, this top floor, if you lose security, for example, then you kind of lose Fountain. If you lose Fountain, you lose Office. It's that generic code that gets embedded into this map where you have to try and hold everything and make sure you have the man count to your advantage. One thing I do worry about is the man just prone right beside the triple wall. If he gets droned, he's dead. But if he goes undroned, then he could be in for an absolute freebie on the Pino.
NiP are really using this spot to force a mistake out of Falcons now. They're trying to get a rotation. They're trying to catch somebody out. You can see Joker's taking a good portion of damage there as Muzi is really starting to work his way in and around that security area. P9 is going to find one onto Wizard. Was the prone player inside of Office. Joker is going to pick one up as well. First time that we've seen a couple of kills going Falcons' way. They've got the opener and the one after. This time it's NiP that are lacking on the refrags, and well, it seems as though they are going to continue to lack. It's all down to Muzi. Still not being able to take good control inside of Office. The diffuser now cold on the ground just outside of security. The best situation for poor old Muzi to be in. He's going to get swung there by P9. Much better from Falcons, or much worse from NiP. They just totally reverted back.
Yeah, a bit of both. I think Falcons, they understood the core concept, keep them out of the building. You see the east wall being opened up, trying to kill them in east as they come in. But they let NiP come into east. You know, we've seen Muzi sitting there just underneath the camera all day long. But he never really, or Pino should I say, he never really done anything. He just sat underneath the default cam and just held down the long corridor. You know, I think NiP, they didn't really know what they wanted to go for. They didn't know, do they want to go in towards security? Do they want to challenge these guys in towards east? You know, that's a gunfight that doesn't look all too flashy, but it's a very important one on board. Getting that first kill is so important. And as we know, still, against a team like NiP, where it's very rare that we'll see them pull back rounds from behind, it's crucial, and that is the most important thing.
I really liked how Falcons held the nerve there, because they didn't go looking for it. NiP were really trying to force a mistake. They had a lot of crosses covered. They were holding some long angles, and Falcons were just saying, yeah, we're kind of happy where we are. Like, we don't really feel like we need to move. Of course, yeah. You have to push us. Like, we've relaxed into the game a little bit. Yeah, you've got a couple of early rounds, but you know, we know the inherent strengths of defense on Rainbow Six, and that is that you don't have to move. You can just wait for people to come into you. I think that NiP maybe just spent a little bit too long trying to force a mistake or an error there.
Some great Bravo value today. Once again, Con slips in, has hacked a gate, has hacked a default cam, can check out if anything else is there. Oh, gets a Fenrir gadget. Now this is an important one because, again, Ying can be used to not only just flash into the bomb site, but what she's really good at, if you look at this bomb site, there's a lot of verticality above. If you don't want to take above, and you know there's going to be defenders playing on the holes, which there is from Falcons, you can just flash them from the sandwich window that we've seen be used earlier. So it's a good way of just denying any control of the above verticality without having to go above.
It's looking very direct so far from NiP. We've got 3 players all huddling there around this B window hopping. JLad is above.
Just free them above.
Quibs. It isn't going to be just as easy as hopping yourself in and getting the plant down. You are going to need to pay some attention to above, whether that is with a flash, with a smoke, or something of that nature.
So what they also have, they have Pino coming in towards east. They also have a player going towards Armory, and they're going to plant right on the doorway. In goes the Candelas, so they will blind anyone who tries to go for the verticality, but no, JLad will find him through the smoke. He has not been flashed, he has not been found, and Falcons have completely collapsed on NiP. Pino, who tried to push upstairs from east, he's been taken out. Psycho does get a refrag, though, onto P9, tries to challenge the vertical angles, but it doesn't work for them. And Muzi, he's all the way over in bathroom. What was he trying to achieve?
Well, it was on the backstab, but it was a very unsuccessful backstab. He's got a little bit of info here. He knows that someone's hiding out inside of customs. He knows someone's at least above, potentially 2. Depends on how much he's got to really work with here. The default cam's going to have given a heck of a lot away there for him. The diffuser's going to be cold. It isn't going to be about the diffuser in this instance. Finds the first onto O-kills, potentially and grab a second as he moves himself up these main stairs. Gets some damage in onto Quibs, but he knows he's being pinched from both sides. JLad, patient there, just holding the bottom of those main stairs. He stopped the plant from going down and picks up the final kill in the round.
JLad, that was his round there, wasn't it? Got him through the smoke. It's almost as if he kind of tucked his way right into the corner of Armory, so the Candelas wouldn't catch it, as they were kind of for a little bit too deep almost. It wasn't as close onto the vertical angles as what maybe it should have been, so just showcases that you need to make sure that the Candelas are placed, you know, correctly. They were thrown in deep. They're not going to be able to see him.
It was a great little 3-2-1 from Falcons in these sort of aggressive jump outs and things of that nature. There was 3 kills in about 2 seconds. A great attempt by NiP, but as you said, just a slight misplay on the utility side of things.
Yeah, good hold from Falcons. Good hold from them. NiP, again, they went for that quick push that time, but I think you have to look at Pino and Muzi. They have to try and create more of a chaos as that plant's going in.
Yeah.
You know, as that diffuser's being planted, Pino shouldn't be placing claymores on a window. Muzi should not be in bathroom. You know, they should be with the team.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Or just harassing up at Armory Door.
He should have stayed at Armory Door because he was at Armory Door earlier. Muzi was there, and then he left. He should have stayed at Armory Door. You need to create some form of pressure. I told you before about Border. Pressure, pressure, pressure.
Cheeky little spawn peek there from J-Lad. Just puts a couple of cursory shots in Muzi's direction. Not looking for anything more or less than that either. If he gets a headshot, he gets a kill. Fantastic. If not, just letting him know you're there. Chance at an even half here for Falcons.
Yeah, it would be a very good half also in the midst of that, considering NiP looked very poor in the defensive half yesterday against M80. NiP, again, they went for the more tame lineup. It's going to be a little bit more slow for them, a little bit more precise. Obviously, we've seen the rush come in the last time, and it worked a treat for them, but they're not going to go for it again. Falcons, they've brought operators in response for that. They have the Warden now, so they can deny that class. And reload. One thing, just on the side as well with Falcons is I think they've got really, really good value out of some of the Aruna gates today. Just slowing that down, and it's an operator that we don't see all too much these days because she is that unfortunate at 1 speed. Psycho finds one. Cons though, oh, a great run out from J-Lad, and Cons, he's not ready for that. He was more focused on the guy inside a break room, and Wizard probably have question marks there. Should have been covering that.
Quite possibly, might have been caught out in the drone or something. Pino, he's going to be outside on ventilation. Seeing if you can find anybody on the cross upstairs. We're going to look at that bathroom intel's site again, and of course we remember the success that NiP had there previously, but not looking to repeat the same trick twice. I'm going to be going for a slightly different approach this time. They're certainly well in that fact-finding mission portion of the round where they're going to look to try and gain a little bit of an advantage. There should be no excuse for any electronics left kicking around. Look at what we're bringing. We're bringing a Brava and an IQ. Almost double redundancy there.
Oh, Solus and IQ both seeing each other. O kills, takes a bit of damage. Pino takes a little bit more. Psycho will find his second in the round. O kills. That said, Solus is eliminated. Quibs, I think he's by himself inside of Workshop. He's going to be up against it because there's 2 players looking to move in towards the main door. It should just be a classic drone him. I'll push him. And hopefully the end result ends in a kill, but Quibs is fighting back. Wizard goes down. Joker above. He too will find an engagement, but now they know where he is from below. Quibs finds one, but not before Muzi gets the refrag. Joker with one on the Psycho. And Muzi once again, Ollie has to try and get a clutch.
Muzi left in the clutch once again, picks up the down there onto Joker. Now in the 1 versus 1 versus J-Lad. He knows exactly where he is. He's just going to hold his nerve, but J-Lad, he peeks left and he peeks right. Picks the right window in the end. Nail biter there as a final round to close the half, and it's all level, 3-3.
Falcons have got a bit about them now, Ollie. A bit of steam in their locker. One thing you have to say about Falcons is they're not giving up. You know, at 3-0, we've seen yesterday, it almost just limped away into the darkness, but no, they've got something about them. Like that,
there was
for
a
example.
Claymore there.
Yeah, like, Claymore's a bit of a...
That's not a great Claymore.
It's not, but at the end of the day, someone should be holding East. The fact that someone's run out of East at like 2 minutes is scandalous.
Well, it's because it's Claymore, isn't it? It's like, oh, there's a Claymore there, we're safe, but the Claymore is actually not very good Claymore.
Claymores are not good unless it's a window.
Yeah.
Facts. Literal facts.
A little bit of frustration starting to show on the side of NiP. They had some early success on this border attack. Picks up 2 lightning rounds and bringing a really exciting brand of Siege. And they just seem to have regressed a little bit, Demo, especially those last couple of rounds. We saw quite timid at NiP. We saw an operator lineup that you could maybe throw a question mark at. Is it necessary to bring both the Brava and the IQ?
I don't know why they slowed down.
Yeah, where has this come from?
You need to play the quick siege. And they showed that they didn't. They showed that they can play that way, and then they didn't.
A lot of Falcons fans in the crowd here today, of course. Hometown team. They're going to be pretty thrilled with that comeback. Not done too badly so far, especially to salvage a 3-3 half from the way the first couple of rounds went is impressive indeed.
Still a long way to go yet.
Certainly is.
And obviously NiP, defensive half. How will things differ from what we've seen against MA, which was really that's where they lost the game. It was all about the defense for them. So I hope that they've done something new. You still went for that dock all in. You weren't a fan of that yesterday.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I'm not the biggest hater of it either. I totally understand why it's brought. I'm not sure how effective Falcons are going to be with nades from below and that sort of, you know, real thorough droning. If it does become something that's quite apparent, then yeah, sure, keep rocking the dock. Realistically, what else would you bring? Because all the NiP want is a 1.5 times.
Yeah.
That's all they're
5
after.
seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, valid, yeah. Definitely valid to have the 1.5x. I think especially for that position where you will be fighting long angles, you think towards breakdoor, for example, 1.5x comes in really handy there. I don't think they have that shield there last time on the door. I think they did. I think they had that shield in their strategy. Just gives them just an extra potential swing if they need it. They've sacked off the castle today, which is one that we mentioned before. How much, you know, yeah, the castle of NiP is becoming quite synonymous, and I don't know if it was the greatest help for them. Nades from below is the order of today. Ollie, did you order any nades today?
I think we should put a little bit of an order in.
I think they're coming up.
Are they en route? Have we got a driver?
They should be. I hope so. But again, that had to be reinforced. It's going to keep them nice and safe. Psycho, nice and safe. So Falcons, as you can see, are just getting themselves in position. There's the pin being pulled, and he will nade. Nobody's home for the first one. In goes the second one. Psycho, you should hear nades from below. You should just sit safe on the hatch, and he will do so. The second one, is it going to be let rip? Nope. Maybe just waiting for a more precise call-out for the team. Okill's also probably looking for a kill below with his set of nades. But as you can see, no one is really in a position to be naded inside of Armory. Wizard, he's standing on a concrete floor always, so they can't even touch him.
This is the problem when you've not got the information to back it up. And it's almost not good enough droning that info for yourself. And if there's a reinforced hatch and you're playing a dock,
You're
wasting your time.
Oh, but they killed him though. He swung. Psycho swung the window. He's been eliminated. That has a great nade from Okill's. Wizard has moved away from his safety position. There we go, Ollie. We ordered some nades and we got one.
Redeemed. If the nades from below don't work, you better have someone in position to catch them on the rotation, and that's exactly what we saw Falcons doing there. Cons has now moved into security, and he's going to try and make something happen from here, but look at all those yellow pings. They know exactly where he is. They know for certain that there's somebody hiding out inside of there. Moosey going to get a great kill over onto J-Lad. As Joker, he's made his way into Archives. Quip finds two, excuse me. Moosey caught in the pinch as the final kill comes in for Joker.
Wow. NiP giving away the early picks, and it just collapses again. What is it with NiP? Just too static. They lose players, they lose kills, and they do nothing to get them back. They do nothing to get them back. Oh my goodness, NiP losing the first defense. And Falcons, they're right in the thick of it. And it's got the crowd going on.
We talk about this hometown advantage and the crowd buff that teams from all over the world get, depending on obviously where they play. If you have a EU team playing EU, then you get a bit of a crowd buff. You have a MENA team playing MENA, yeah, you get a bit of a crowd buff. And it just so happens that this time it's the Falcons that are on the receiving end of those cheers. Clinical take upstairs. I think they did a fantastic job. I was quite critical of the nades from below. I think that J-Lad maybe missed a little bit of an opportunity with one of them and didn't potentially have anyone else working with him, but when it all comes through and you get to see the bigger picture, you can see there was someone there up there ready to collect that kill over onto Psycho. And again, we can remain critical of the dock demo.
We can. We can. Castle comes in, which we did mention before. Strategy from NiP may look a little bit complicated for everyone down there, especially if you look towards east. You can see that one of the double doors is castled, and you have that rotation going into the bomb site. That is going to be a good way for NiP to hold down east a lot more safely. You don't have to worry about, you know, having to hold customs. You can give them customs. That castle barricade being there will block off the sight lines, and it will give you a chance to get back into sight if a rush does happen, which we know on border that is very likely to be the case. Upstairs, you can see the castle barricades towards east. It's really just about holding down east. I probably would like to see a deployable shield also stationed in towards east stairs just to give more of a control, but deployable shield these days are quite difficult to come by, as we know. Yeah.
We're in an economic downturn for deployable shields, Demo. It's become one of the rarer things in this game. P9. Not so quietly, but still sneaking in on the Nook. Does have some drones working at his feet. Quite easily could find himself a freebie here as long as somebody gets droned out.
That barbed wire, though, Wally, it's going
to stop him from advancing any further.
What's going on here? Jalad trying to move in towards kind of front desk area and does get pelted back, and that's because there's players inside of East that can hold that angle.
Now going to try his luck at moving downstairs as P9 turns his attention over toward Workshop. There's going to be a player in there scurrying away. Pino gets caught out there as he tries to run back to the safety of sight. We're going to send a nade in through to Showers now as well, just to see if anyone's kicking around in there. And Psycho has found himself down. Not sure if that was off the back of the nade or not.
Muzi trying to clamber back in alongside Cons, who's found 2 kills for his trouble. Wizard is the lone player in sight, but he's got support from the hatches above, but never mind. O-Kills has eliminated Cons on the hatch, but Muzi is there with the refrag. Never mind, there goes Wizard. Doesn't need to cover no more. It's actually been a drop coming in for Muzi, and a 1 versus 2. Again, this player needs to go for another clutch.
Well, he's going to have to try and navigate this castle barricade that his team have set up for him. A little bit of an advantage here, certainly, for Falcons. They've got him in the pinch. Muzi finds one onto Jalad. He's just going to land a couple of bullets, but no, it's P9. That's a shot you've got to hit, and he hits it.
My goodness. That was an almost for Muzi. Again, very, very tight round that we have, but Falcons, P9, incredible in that round, incredible. Really starting things off, you know, on the Nook, looking to maybe move in towards upstairs, can't do it because the barbed wire. Finds another option then downstairs, finds a lone player by himself, this kill right here. And really,
2 players from NiP got shot in the back running back to side.
That kill flustered NiP, because then they started trying to get back into the bomb site. I will say this, you'll see a kill here, this is needless. Why is he swinging that? I don't know. Why? Because there's 2 players above, they still have control of the site hatch. Needless. And we've seen NiP do this yesterday, where they will swing an angle for no reason. For no reason at all.
It's even more blatant in the replay as well. You know, in the heat of the moment, we're looking at the whole thing.
But we've got everything.
But we've got receipts on these players now. We've got the replays, and that really does shine some cold hard truths on some of those peaks that maybe shouldn't be. 5-3 now as we move into round number 9. We're gonna go upstairs. NiP's first attempt at this top floor site. We've got Psycho on the dock again. At what point do you just place someone below and try and deal with the person coming through detention?
No, I think, I'll be honest, I don't know if Psycho's the right player for that position, because that's a few times where I've seen an overswing for no reason. That Brazil location, which that little box there, people don't know it's called Brazil, which is quite fitting for, you know, this. And the reason why is it started back in 2017, whenever Brazil were really the teams who started going for this extension in towards security. That's where it kind of started. It was a very strong position for them. And
a free history lesson, eh?
You know me, encyclopedia and all that. But I don't think Psycho's the right player for that, because he's swinging too much, he's over-peaking. Your main goal there is just to stay alive. That's all you need to do. I think Wamai is more well-suited for that, mostly because, sure, we're talking about nades from below, and you can reinforce the hatch, but that still doesn't stop from nades just flying in through the window and hitting you. I much prefer the Wamai.
We'll see how Psycho manages to navigate that position this time. It looks as though he's got a little bit more support. So he's going to be working alongside Muzi as well.
There's the trophy, which don't know what's happened. There's a nice trophy though.
We do have a trophy. You see, this is confusing because we still have a top-down feed.
I would like to see the round.
Oh, okay. Now we don't have a top-down feed.
We have an issue.
That tells us all we need to know.
We've been disconnected, guys, from the game.
We've had an observer crash in the lobby. Hopefully we'll get ourselves sorted and back into the game as soon as possible.
A lot of flags. A lot of flags. You don't see that from...
We get the
too
odd
many
flag,
events.
but
Don't
not,
see too
yeah,
many.
not an ideal time. I think Falcons were just picking up a little bit of momentum there.
Yeah.
Going to be rehosting with the same site, same
Yes.
operators as well, I would
Yes.
imagine. I didn't get a glance at the clock before we disconnected.
Are they
but
still playing the game? That's the question, because obviously we're a minute in. No, okay, everything's shut down for it. Sometimes we find that where it's the teams will play the round because it's a little bit too late on, isn't it? But
yeah.
it should go back to 5 versus 3. We'll be in as quick as we can. As you can see the players getting into the lobby as swiftly as possible. Chubb's having a word. Moosey, we not happy with something? What's going on?
I did see one of the Falcons players earlier picking up the mouse and sort of pointing at the mouse and talking to the admin about it, so I'm not sure if they were having a bit of an issue there.
They're players. Are they ever happy? Are players ever happy?
No, it's always the mouse fault. Change your sense.
It's always something.
Bad game, change your sense.
They all think it's the mouse. It's not. It's your own hand, mate. Get that sorted.
Just while we've got a moment of downtime here, I'm going to indulge in a story.
Oh dear.
SI 21
Right.
in Sweden.
Okay. No, that was 21 was in Paris.
22 in Sweden.
22 in Sweden.
Demo rocks up, didn't bring any peripherals, and we actually got to take over one of the practice rooms for one of the teams.
Yep.
And Demo
Sandbox,
was,
if I'm not mistaken.
Demo was absolutely killing it on ranked with like the worst keyboard and mouse combination you've ever seen. The total cost of the setup would have been like 20 quid.
Yeah.
You could have got the mouse and the keyboard as like a combo deal. It was just office wear, and you were absolutely slaying. And ever since then, I've always really, it's not the mouse. It's not the mouse.
I just love PlayStation Siege.
Exactly.
You know? Wasn't too bad.
As we can see, the lobby filling up here. We are going to be jumping back into Border exactly where we left off. This is, of course, a bit of a time for the players to have a little bit of a chat between themselves.
Yeah. Obviously, they can think about what they want to do. I mean, I think NiP obviously there in the hot seat looks psycho.
I'm going to play dog on the reinforced hatch. Just let
Your Brazilian's getting good.
Just let me play dog on the reinforced hatch. That's all I want to do.
All you guys need to do is not swing. I'll do the swing.
Just don't swing.
I will swing. You don't do anything. Okay? Whenever I inevitably die, you get ready to refry. Because I will swing and I will die.
With all 3 stims in pocket.
I will be firing the stims at the opponents just to see if you guys are good enough for this game. If you're good enough for this team, you will kill the Ash with 140 health. You will do that.
Imagine if that was the content. Imagine Psycho just comes out and starts spraying the stim pistol around.
It's testing the team.
Brilliant.
NiP, this is it. World champions, the weight of the badge. Big club. Big expectations.
I'm not sure how good everyone's eyesight is, but it looks as though we've nearly got all of the players inside of the lobby. I think we've got a full 5v5, so we're potentially just waiting for a couple of last-minute checks to be performed before we are sent back into the game.
Should we just play medics and easy? It's always a good out, isn't it?
See, this is the time when the observers do the most work, because they have to rebuild the whole lobby,
Oh no.
and they have to rebuild put in all the previous scores.
They have a lot down on a piece of paper, don't they?
They have to write it all down, yep.
We're back underway, ready to go. These teams battling out for that glorious trophy that you just seen on your screen. The second champions will be crowned this weekend, Ollie, off the competition. Could it be a 2-time BDS still, of course, in the competition?
Certainly could now. Falcons, 5-3. Could potentially move them on to match point here. We are going to have to see an entire remake of the previous round 9, which they lasted about a minute or so. But it's going to be very similar, isn't it? We're expecting to see the same sort of a setup here. We had Muzi place that shield at the top of 90, Psycho reinforcing the hatch inside of CCTV, making a little bit of a rotation in through to Fountain as well. It's going to be fairly par for the course here. That is NiP's main focus here, is to keep control of that CCTV room for as long as possible.
All about the security. That is what you need. Falcons they've been
5 seconds left.
they've been very tame in the operator choices. Again, you know, the kind of fast action that we expect to see on Border hasn't really been brought. They're favouring a lot more than nades. 6 nades being brought to the table. NiP doesn't really get banned too much now because she's really open to playing. And one thing as well with NiP, if people don't know, she got the change where now she can be heard as she's walking around if she has her gadget activated. It used to be that if you had it activated, you were like Cav. You just didn't hear them.
The thing is, it's always going to be played because it's 2 nades.
It's 2 nades and a good gun.
It's 2 nades and a good gun.
I say
so
good gun.
You
All
are
right.
always going to play it. This is where we start to see the nades come in from below. How good is your information, J-Lad?
Got a couple of pings.
You were good for 1 last time.
They're not really going near Psycho below as well, and one thing you've noticed, probably because they realize what's the point, you're wasting nades. You can't really get him in an easy way.
This could be a good one.
Patch, no, he's aiming for the roar. Almost got him there as well, Olipino. He should now go and get a dock, so we will see hopefully some value out of the stim pistol. Psycho looks to be rotating over, has hopefully a stim pistol out ready to go. There's the nade, Wizard eliminated. Cons has slipped downstairs, he finds one, he has no idea that O'Kills is right beside him. He's also downstairs with an nade. Psycho, there we go, he swings, he gets killed. Muzi has also dropped below. We have so much action downstairs.
Peanut takes a second swing. Why not? Well, I'll tell you why, because you're going to lose. O'Kills from below picks himself up 2. Poor old Peanut didn't even manage to get a dock stim inside of that round.
6 rounds in a row now for Falcons. Head loss city for NiP. And they've used the timeout.
Match point here for Falcons. Map number 1 here in this lower bracket final.
I want to see how Psycho died. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, you're waiting
I'm waiting for it.
Should we count how many needless swings there were from the side of NiP?
Where's my beloved replays? They're not here today. Yay!
The nades from below are fantastic.
The nade
I think J-Lad did a fantastic job there because you could see him tempted for a couple. Cons just got super unlucky not to look for the second there.
Yeah, he had no idea.
Why would you look though? You've got no idea.
Yeah, there he is!
Oh, of course, he's walking out of the CCTV door!
Take me! Imagine if you walked in and you walk into a restaurant and the chicken walks up to you and just dies in front of you. Just eat me now! Take me! That's what that was like.
You just sat at the seaside and the fish just jumps out of the sea onto the
It says,
plate.
would you like me today? Would you like me?
10 seconds left.
Oh boy. NiP just
5 seconds
the
remaining.
defense again. It's carried over from the M80 game. They've played,
Attackers are heading out
what's
to
that,
the user
9 defensive rounds of Border. They've won 1.
It's not a great stat line, is it? The saving grace is that the next couple of maps that are coming up are traditionally
It's
decent
NiP
maps for
maps,
NiP.
yes, of course.
So as long as they can maintain a good mentality, they shouldn't be too concerned here.
But we said that about G2 and Falcons, and we said the second map favored G2. And
Yeah,
look
we
what
did.
happened. Falcons, the momentum carries over, and they train wreck them.
If it runs on batteries, I see it.
P9 searching out on that IQ, seeing if there's anything he could find. Maybe Falcons this
Here
time.
we go,
looking to
here we
play
go.
things a little bit quickly.
Not
They haven't
going
got
for
the
the plan.
glass though.
He's not going for the plan. You can see the Yings rotate it around now to the other side of the map, maybe looking to move in towards the reception. So that was almost a bit of a bait almost to maybe create some chaos for NiP, make them worry, make them use some utility, but nothing really came off that. That was a bit strange from Falcons, because generally if you're going to go big, you commit to it. They haven't done that.
Considering they've only got 1 Candela left, no smokes. Sure, we've got the Warden, so you know you're going to need to have a good couple of pieces of utility to potentially pick the right angle to use that utility in. Certainly a little bit strange there from Falcons. I was expecting something maybe a little bit quicker there from them with that utility commitment, but they've allowed NiP chance to sort of stabilize a little bit here.
Falcons have slowed the tempo down, rightly so, but that's an easy pick for Pino. That proximity alarm will give the position of Quibs away. Every now and again we see the proxy alarms get good value, but Joker, he's jumped in through the window, found 1 kill, but NiP, they will stabilize only after losing that first player. Wow, there's a Capcan kill as well in the midst of that. NiP, they pull around back, they're back in the game.
I want to see which Capcan it was, because there was an IQ and a lot of those Capcans got found.
I think it was upstairs, where IQ was not.
I'm certainly not blaming the IQ. There is the classic double on the long corridor upstairs in Border, which is just a nightmare for the Capcan traps because it's a door that doesn't look like a door. Much better from NiP. Nice to see them not overreact to that initial utility push as well. It would have been really easy to just throw a load of C4s at that and to, you know, really lose a lot of your advantage for later on into the round.
Yeah, Joker just jumps in, nobody's home. It's a good kill. There's Cons. Didn't see your Capcan kill though.
Capcan kill.
It's tricky because we don't really consider Capcan the gadget as a person, so we don't really have a POV off it.
No.
Only the final kill we really see them, isn't it? Or if we just catch it on the observer.
NiP going all the way back into this. They need to pick up 2 rounds here.
Okay, so this is obviously Ventilation Room Workshop. They've got the castle. They're going for the kind of east hold again, which it does feel a little bit weird considering that this isn't the bomb site. It's not as if it's bathroom and tellers. It is going to be Ventilation Room Workshop, but they're still trying to hang on to east. Yeah, reinforced break room as well. They got the rotate in. They've castled off as well a long corridor. Double reinforced in bathroom. I mean, right now, if you're NiP, you're basically saying, let's all play upstairs. That's basically what you've done. For Falcons, and looking at their lineup, they've got nades. They could maybe see if they could clear some utility and try and go fast into the site. Maybe that could be an option for them if there is maybe a blind spot, a bit of flooring not being opened up. But whenever there is an Oryx, it's very rare that you would find something not being opened up. Pino looking to get aggressive, actually. Maybe walks out the main door, catches a player, repelling, no kills, falls, but there's a good refrag. Never mind, Cons has got the cover. He was hit away inside of Customs. And Falcons, they've tried to, you know, get the refrags and get the kills back, but NiP have almost baited them into it.
I think Pino owes Cons a chocolate bar for that one. He's kept him in the game. Devastating couple of opening kills there. Some good aggression from NiP as well. That's what I'd like to see. Just lurking around the breach, taking your chance. And of course, having your teammate there to grab you back is always helpful as well. It's just going to take the wind out of Falcon's sails a little bit here. Quibs just gets caught out on the prox alarm. Can't be too devastating. There's only a handful of places that he can be, and he's going to look to try and open the breach anyway. Pops himself here into security, just keeping an eye on the top of those main stairs. Great shot from Joker onto Wizard. Wizard just getting caught, peeking out from round the corner, potentially not needing to do so. It's going to be P9 that moves in now to try and make something happen. To fully check out that fountain as the info isn't really there, but he's going to catch Psycho, just looking entirely the opposite way. How has he not heard him there transitioning through? This is looking much better for the Falcons. They lost the opening 2, but they haven't lost one since. Cons, he's lit. He's got shot from above.
And you look at the issue now of losing that top floor. All those vertical angles are going to work against the defense. Both players are on either ends off the map. One in bathroom, one towards jail. They are so separated from one another. This is going to be really tricky for NiP, and look at the HP as well. That goes against them. All Falcons need to do is drone the site, find one of them, and also I just go for the one guy. I would flood him. Now they know where he is. This should be just a drop in, get the kill, get the plant down.
Potentially drop from 2 angles as well. They're just going to look to try and exploit a little bit of this vertical angle that is available to them for the time being. There is only 15 or so seconds left on the clock. They're now going to hit the drop, get themselves straight into Workshop. They are actually going to ignore the Solace that was in bathroom and maybe look to try and get this plant down. Pino, he loses the gunfight. Cons, he's got even less health than his buddy did. He too gets taken down. Falcons, they claw it back there, Demo. That start of that round was not looking great for them, but they closed out a very solid border here, taking map number 1.
Yeah, very impressive from Falcons. I mean, just they go 3-0 down. We see a timeout, we think, oh, here we go again. It's just going to be the same as what it was yesterday, but no. Falcons really pulled it back. NiP off the mark in the defense again. So static, swinging needlessly whenever they just need to sit and hold angles and talk to each other and play as a team, get the refrags. They were not doing that. NiP came out gunning from the get-go. Look at the style they were playing on the attack. It then kind of petered away, and Falcons got themselves back in. And it just shows the momentum of Falcons. One thing that we said that they certainly can do, and they can show. They didn't really do it yesterday. They did it against G2, and they're doing it here now, where it matters.
We're going to hit a very short break. After that, we'll be back with the desk to break it down and to set us up for map number 2. Don't go anywhere.
تستمتع وتلاقي الوجبة جاية على الأصول. واو يجيك العيش هش طالع من الأوفن والدجاج يقرمش just the way I love it. وتسوي كده وتسوي كده وتسوي كده مع الحشمة وانت تبغى راب خفيف اجيب تويستر. انا اجيب لي وجبة الزنجر بس كله يجيب اكسترا تشيز على الكرانشي تشيكن في السنتر. حطلب باكت حطلب زنجر حطلب مايتي حطلب تويستر. جيب له باكت جيب له زنجر جيب له الاصلي جيب له تويستر. delicious yeah.
If you got something on your mind, go and spit it out. If you got something on your chest, go and get it off. We don't have a moment to waste. For the last few days, we've been running in place. I need a vacation. Both hands holding on, but I feel it breaking. If I'm not good enough, how long till replacement? I see right through your disguise, your pretty little lie. What if I told you I know exactly what you want? What have they sold you on that blacktop boulevard? Ooh, I'm doing damage control on my heart and my soul. Oh no, I don't need your help, said I'm good on my own. Ooh, I'm doing damage control on my heart and my soul. Oh no, I don't need your help, said I'm good on my own. Let me be free. Let me be free. Let me be free.
Welcome to the STC Play Pre-Map. We've just seen Falcons secure their own map pick border. I'm Ginny, joined with us with Fresh and Anne, and a little surprise, we have Valentino as well.
Hello.
Welcome. Lovely to have you.
Thank you. I left the team for you.
Sorry?
I left the team for you.
Oh, you left the team for us.
I did.
Okay, so he's here to help all of us break down. I think the first question definitely that we need to ask is, we actually saw border this time around, but we didn't see it yesterday. So walk us through it. What's the thought process behind that?
Actually, we played them on Chalet yesterday. Like, it was pretty hard. They used Clash so much, and we were thinking, should we just ban Clash? But no. We decided to go another map, which is border. They played against M8 yesterday on it. They lost 7-2 or 7-1, I can't remember. So we are actually good on border. The start of the map was rough a little bit, but they adapted and went through it.
Okay, so that means that you guys did get the chance to see the M80 game that they played yesterday.
Yeah, we got the chance to.
Yeah.
I mean, just the score proves that they are not that good on the map, so that was enough.
I think it was a brave call because, you know, they went on to Chalet yesterday. Like you say, it was the clash and the utility that you guys were struggling to deal with yesterday. Obviously, that's not as much of an issue on border. They did surprise you though, didn't they? They came out of the blocks with some very fast attacks in those first couple of attacks.
Yeah. Like, before the game, we said we were going to play Warden for rushes, because obviously everyone rushes on border, especially when it's Armory and Armory and Archives.
Yep.
So we were like, let's play Warden, but they didn't pick Warden for some reason. So I was like, why aren't we playing Warden? And first 3 rounds were rusty a little bit, but then they adapted again and we managed to pull back.
Yesterday as well, the first game against NiP wasn't the performance that we're expecting from Falcons. We're going to be completely honest. I mean, even NiP on the interview said, we were really thinking that they're going to come out swinging, they're going to be aggressive, but that wasn't the case. But then the game against G2 was completely different. You guys went back into form. So we heard a little bit from Jack saying that players were told that they can just go comfortable, do what they want. But what happened between those 2 games?
I mean, basically, I think because it was the first game of the day, like first game of their tournament as well. So I don't think the boys were in the mood for the game. And no offense to Golds, but they were playing like Golds. They were playing so terrible. Afterwards, we told them, like, you're playing, can I say it? You're playing really bad.
Yeah.
And actually just play comfortable. And one thing we changed was P9.
Yeah.
His role was so strict, he can't do anything he wants. So we were like, just be comfortable, do whatever you want, and here we come. Like, he played against G2 so well, and against NiP as well. So hopefully the second map it goes well as well. We go to the semifinals.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we were all hoping for that as well, considering you're on the desk now. But and yesterday as well, specifically, we were saying, okay, when M&M had split the border against Falcons at the Copenhagen Major, they were like, oh, well, now we know what every team felt like back in Riyadh. So that is exactly the case this time around for NiP. They let that go through. So in that regards, maybe 4 rounds on the board for NiP, but still, Falcons just came out swinging.
Yeah, I feel like this map suits you guys' playstyle very well. Like, it allows you to play aggressive, allows you to be in the enemy's faces. Obviously, we did not see that too much in the first game that you guys played yesterday. Yeah. And he said after the second game against G2, oh, we're playing more like ourselves now. That was the game plan coming into this game as well, I assume?
Yeah. Yesterday, they were a little bit afraid or pressured, so they weren't comfortable playing the play style we usually do. So afterwards, we told them, like, just be yourselves, play as if it's ranked, and that's how we actually run. That's how we actually manage to play as a team. Just be yourself, play ranked, have fun, and that's it.
Fresh really likes that. He likes some good old Ranky.
I like Ranky. I think the thing is as well is, like, you don't realize how much that affects confidence as well, right? Is if you're playing with the freedom and you're playing with confidence, then things work out for you as well. You try things, you don't second guess yourself, and things just work out. And you know, that's what we know Falcons for. It's what we saw last year. It's what we saw in the Copenhagen Major, all the way through MENA League as well. And you know, it's what we finally saw when you played G2 on the first map today.
That was another discussion point as well that we had on the desk. The fact that last year on Gamers8, that was the first time that Falcons was on the international stage. So not a lot of expectations on your shoulders. You're then going into the Copenhagen Major. Is the first time we're seeing MENA on the international stage. Again, a bit of a dark horse, nobody really knowing what to expect. But then you're coming on Gamers8 for the second time and everyone is like, okay, Falcons, last time around, they were in the final. So do these expectations make the team play a little different, think a little different?
I mean, the reason there is more pressure is because we probably became second last year. So if you come less, it's like, what are we doing?
G2's out, so you're fine.
And we are in Riyadh as well, our hometown.
Yeah.
So Gamers8 last year was really, like, I think they started the same way. They played against BDS first. It went really bad. Then they realized just be yourselves, play whatever you want, and have freedom to do whatever. And it worked out until they went to the final against BDS. But it was a close final. It didn't work out at the end, but like, second place is better than last.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like G2.
You're going back to Cafe in a bit. That was a map that you played against Falcons as well yesterday, which was a 7-1 score. The defense didn't really work out that well for Falcons. Is there anything other than the playstyle and being more aggressive, more confident that we can expect as a change going into this second time on Cafe?
I mean, the same thing that happened in Chalet happened in Cafe. They were pressured, they weren't feeling themselves. When the G2 game came and we played on Cafe, they really know how to adapt to G2's mistakes and to play against them properly. So hopefully they play in the same play style on Cafe this time again, and we will secure the win, hopefully. Hopefully.
It's a different team this time around. It is NiP, and you played against them yesterday. It wasn't maybe the performance that you wanted, but still, when you've looked at NiP on Border, you've looked at the matches yesterday that played against M80, you've played against them yourselves, what are the biggest pain points you think from this team that you, as Falcons, can utilize to your advantage?
Actually, third floor in Cafe, we weren't holding piano that much against NiP at the first game. In the Cafe game against G2, we actually worked on that. People were actually wasting time more and using more utility, which was lacking us in the game against NiP. So hopefully we do the same thing again. And I think, like, we played Cafe twice yesterday, so that's enough scrimming for that map.
All right, warmed up, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
I think that's certainly something that I noticed in that first game against NiP and Cafe was, like, you played reading. I think it was 2 or 3 times in the the basement site, and you just gave them so much space. Yeah. So I'm gonna, for me, my expectation is that you will be fighting them. Particularly if it's top floor and reading, you'll be fighting for piano and cigar shop and really trying to get in the face because, that's what you're known for. It was so surprising to us yesterday when we're seeing Falcons just play time almost. It was like he was playing time into play like kind of retake, which again isn't what we come to kind of know your guys' style to be.
Yeah. We actually played so much time yesterday. We weren't even wasting time. We were just like holding a place, throwing a drone and pulling back. We shouldn't be doing
to make
that.
a play. Yeah.
Yeah, well, NiP, they've played Border this time. This was their first matchup of today. It went 7-4, right? So in terms of the mental state that they're in right now, going into Cafe, that is something as well that we need to take into consideration, because this matchup specifically, guys, it's like either you're going into playoffs or you're going home. There is no middle ground. So when we're looking at the NiP players, we're looking at their chance on Cafe, and how are we feeling?
I mean, obviously, if you think about the fact that they're going to play a completely different playstyle, as you mentioned as well, they're feeling more unleashed, or feeling less pressure. I feel like if we see this aggressive playstyle, if P9 gets that freedom that he has been given, I feel like it could be something completely different. And for NiP, that might be difficult to adapt to, right? They saw a very passive Falcons yesterday. Now they might play a very aggressive Falcons. So to have to adapt to that, that might be a challenge for NiP too.
One thing that I will say is T-Chubbs and Bob, you know, the coaching staff of NiP, are very, you could call them angry, I would call them passionate guys.
Angry, okay.
And they will give their team a big speaking to when they lost. I know that after the M80 game yesterday, they gave them a big shouting at, after the map 1 of M80, they gave them a big shouting at, screamed at them, get the guys riled up, get them ready for it, get them motivated. And obviously we saw NiP get in there and win that map too. Wasn't comfortable, only just, you know, it was that unlosable round. Yeah. But I think that's one thing is, you know, the Brazilians, they are very passionate. They will say what's on their mind, and they will shout at each other if they need to get back up for it.
Yeah, but then we're looking at Falcons, and they're kind of in the opposite boat. They have that momentum going. They won against G2. They won the first map now against NiP. So they must be in a different headspace, which potentially could just make them do this as a 2-0.
I mean, just as I said before, if you play in the same style we played earlier against G2 and in the first map, we might actually go to the semi-finals. And we are looking forward, because if we go to the semi-final, we are going to play BDS. And we are looking to get the revenge back. Like, we are getting the revenge back from NiP now, and we are looking forward to play BDS again.
Okay.
Hopefully.
So there's like a couple of steps in the way for you to guys get there.
One more map.
One more map? Okay, that's true. Cafe being that specifically. So maybe not to give any strats away or anything in that regards, but when we are going up against NiP, as you know, we already heard from Fresh, maybe they got a little bit of a stern talking to. We're not going to use shouting this time around. When it comes to going up against them, is there any prep that you've done specifically for their playstyle here? Because yesterday they expected an aggressive Falcons, they didn't get it, so most likely they're expecting aggression again.
Yeah. We don't really focus on their like weak points. We just focus on our strong points, which are like the roles in the team. Like we unleashed P9 right now. So if he actually play like he played yesterday, we are taking this map home. So.
Okay, I feel like that's a prediction already. So that's a 2-0 prediction. And in your regards, when we're looking at Cafe, we're looking at the historical data from both NiP and Falcons. Is this looking at 2-0? Is it looking more of a 50-50 affair?
I mean, both teams picked a map that they have a 7-game win streak on.
Nice.
And for NiP themselves, they beat impressive teams like Liquid, for example. Obviously, if you look at Cafe, Falcons have played it too, but there will be meta teams that they've played against, for example, and won again. So, history speaking, NiP beat, well, impressive teams on this, but, you know, Falcons can change their playstyle, as you heard, and P9 is unleashed, so I'm ready to see that.
Okay, I feel like there's a little bit of bias because Valentine is this. Fresh, you're going to have to be the honest one. Is this going to be a 2-0?
I'll be honest one. The determination is around Falcons for me. Is because if it happens yesterday where Falcons sit off and give NiP the space, the processes NiP have in terms of setting up that execute and executing that execute are very good. If Falcons get in the face and disrupt NiP and continue, then it can start snowballing, because I presume that you're starting defense on Cafe as well. So if you're starting defense, those defenses can absolutely snowball. So I would be tempted off yesterday's performance to say NiP, I'm going to sit on the fence. You know what? I'm going to leave it.
No, you
It's
can't.
up to
We need an answer. Fresh, come on.
NiP.
You have 15 steps. You go for NiP.
I'll go for NiP. I think
okay, so
I
feel like so you went for Falcons. You went for Falcons. NiP, you have a little bit of a differential on the desk. Nobody really wants to agree on something, but that's fine because we're going to be heading into the final, or potentially the final game. We have Cafe coming up next between Falcons as well as NiP. Now, Falcons looking for that revenge. Can they do it? Find out as we're going to be heading onto the server with Demo and Ollie.
Ginny, thank you very much indeed. I'm joined here with Demo. Demo, it was great to get some of Valentino's insight there. Obviously, the substitute currently for Falcons. He was a player on the active roster until only, I feel like, a day or so before the tournament even started when Quibs made his return. So great to get a little bit of that insight there on the desk as well. We're going to be headed into our second map here of Cafe. As Falcons, they're going to look to make this 2-0 on the series in the lower bracket final.
but it's going to be difficult because it's Cafe, and they got played out of the map against NiP yesterday. Falcons, one thing you will say about them, though, is they do have the defense going for them into Cafe, which, as we know, defense in Cafe Ollie is incredible. It is incredible.
So
but that didn't really happen yesterday.
Well, Falcons actually played Cafe twice yesterday, didn't they? Because they played it against G2 as well. And where NiP played Falcons out of the map on Cafe, Falcons played G2 out of the map on Cafe. Falcons got a cracking scoreline, a 7-2 over on Cafe to start things off against G2. They were good for 5 rounds on the defense, 2 rounds on the attack, so you would hope with them starting on the defense here that this would be fairly favorable for them. Something that I know that you commented at quite length yesterday, Demo, was a lack of a certain operator, certain Italian operator. Amira?
She's not Italian.
Not Italian?
She's not Italian.
I thought they were Italian.
Spanish.
Spanish.
The Italians are Maestro and Alibi. Spaniards are Jackal and Mira.
You're so smug telling me that.
Smug.
Your eyes just lit up. You know what I think it is? I think it's the shotgun. I think it's the shotgun's called the ITA. I think I just linked that
And you
with...
think that means Italy?
Yeah, I think I just linked that with Italy.
So what, the L98 that all the UK ones use, what does that mean? World Lithuanian? What does that mean?
I don't know. Talk to me about the mirror, Demo.
Talk to you about the mirror. Very, very strong. Top floor is incredible, but she also does see some play towards reading. They went for the freezer mirror towards right. Sometimes you can go for the freezer mirror and then the other one kind of more default, looking down towards longbar, which they've went for. Or they also could have went for the bathroom mirror window. That's also kind of your third option they've went for. So a little bit more tame. They're not looking to hold Piano as aggressive as what you would expect to see. And the reason for that, Ollie, is they do have the mirror window, of course, in freezer, but they haven't opened up any head holes in towards Piano. So NiP should be able to see it and say, hey, we can take Piano this time. But the main thing that if you look at NiP yesterday and how they attacked this bomb site specifically, as I say that, a couple of head holes do get put in. NiP were able to take Piano immediately and then we're straight into freezer. They're not going to be able to do it this time because there's a mirror window that they have to go through.
Cons was almost on a loop yesterday with how good he was at getting into Piano and then acing open
Just
that
ace,
wall.
yeah, that was it.
It was
because they reinforced the double freezer, yeah.
But now it's a very different affair because you've got somebody playing on that pixel
yeah,
spot.
Pixel as well.
You've got the Wamai playing behind the shield. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to root out. And then you're going to be dealing with the mirror as well. So a lot more to go through here. Great heads-up play from Cons, speaking of him. Gathered the info on the drone there. The cover of the Lion scan really working out for him.
He's reloaded for 2 bullets, by the way. Just to let you know, and Cons also eliminates Pixel. Falcons are swinging, but it's not working out for them. I don't know why Jalad went for that, because he is very, very safe behind a deployable shield. Mirror window will be opened up with the Selma charge. There's no mute in the lineup of Falcons, so there's going to be no denial for it. Quibs is trying to battle back, and Ollie, we kind of comment about Cons and how good he was yesterday. Deja vu again.
And look at what he's able to achieve here. He's got the drone working at his feet. I think it's even a Brava drone. Still forcing the players off that top floor. And, you know, mirror window, yeah, it was great. It kind of served its purpose because it forced Cons to go a different direction. But the end result is largely the same. 2 kills for NiP, full top floor control. And now they can really start to work on this floor. Safe in the knowledge, by the way, there's not even a C4.
Not even a C4. Falcons are really struggle now because we know NiP, they'll come in and they'll start using the vertical angles, they'll utilize the hatch, and they will make sure that Falcons have nowhere safe to sit inside of reading. Falcons, if they try and go for the flank, we know that, you know, players like Wizard, for example, they lock down the flank extremely well on NiP. This is shaping up to be a very clean round and expected from them of how they played Cafe yesterday. Yeah, flawless to kick things off. That's how you start it in style.
Don't get too excited if you're an NiP fan. The first couple of rounds of Border were fantastic as well, and they very quickly went off the boil. Falcons have taken a couple of rounds to ease into these fixtures, but that being said, a flawless round to kick things off. NiP dismantling the setup there and not really coming up against any significant obstacle.
Yeah, again, Cons, for me, he was the key, wasn't he? First of all, he finds Joker, he had like 29 bullets, and he went for the reload. Then he gets caught out by it. That swing, needless from Jalad. You literally have a deployable shield that you can just sit behind. It's an ace. There's no nades. There's not even a nade ollie on the NiP lineup. I would like to see a mute be incorporated into that strategy, because they should know that Cons is always going to be playing that ace in this map.
I think that would really help.
It would just slow them down even more so.
Especially with the drone in that NiP are capable of. Cons got all those kills, but there was drones at his feet the whole way. And he's screaming for lion charges as well.
And Mute on Cafe, it's one of his better maps.
Yeah.
Very, very strong. You think about actually getting drones into the building. It's difficult, especially via the top floor.
Yeah.
You have to go for the hatches, which again is very easy. Just place a mute jammer and stop that. You think a cigar shop, you stack, you know, 1 or 2 mute jammers in there. Ain't nobody know where you're at.
I do believe we're on a little bit of a pause here. The timer
We've had a drop.
Stuck at 5 seconds.
We're missing Muzi.
We don't have the full lineup for NiP. They might have got a flawless round, but I think they still probably need the full lineup here for this fixture. So we're going to wait until we get Muzi back into the server.
It's only fair.
True. Spoiler alert, we're going to see a repeat of the sight we saw last round. So Falcons obviously feeling like those first couple of kills maybe shouldn't have been. And you know,
they were avoidable kills.
They were definitely avoidable.
You'd say.
Yeah.
So they think, yeah, let's run it back. Let's play a little bit more safe. Because, again, the utility that they're bringing, NiP will need to work to clear those mirror windows. Clear Pixel, for example. With no nades in their lineup, it will be difficult for them. And NiP should be probably expecting similar. And I would say they'll probably go for similar, where they will try and get Cons in very early on in towards Piano and start just opening up everything.
Well, as we move now into the round, not much for the Thorn this time. Clearly sort of reading into the fact that NiP didn't bring any nades last time. They may not bring any nades again, and well, we can already see that they haven't. Provided that nobody 6 picks, we get a couple of 6 picks come in, but neither Twitch nor Nomad possess the nades. I'm not too sure about the Nomad. I think the Lion was very effective in the previous round. I also think Bravo was fantastic. A lot of value out of that Bravo drone. But
attackers must locate and defuse the
I'm
bomb.
willing to be surprised.
Willing to be surprised.
Yeah.
Solus downstairs, Ollie. Potential runouts. We've seen that happen a few times, didn't we? We've seen O-Kills go for that play. Didn't really work out for him. Did he get any kills from the jump outs at all in Cafe yesterday?
No, Falcons were trying to play aggressively. In the NiP game, they were trying to play aggressively, but they didn't really get anything for it. Wizards the one dicing at the minute. You don't usually hang around too long on that rappel. You like to get yourself up onto the blacktop as soon as possible and then place your utility down.
Yeah, you look at the setup again, it's very similar for Falcons. Haven't really changed anything. They have that pixel shield again, which NiP will have to deal with. But see, Falcons, they're almost just waiting to see what NiP are going to go for. A mirror window will be popped. I just heard that happen. Which one is it though? Is it the one in bathroom, or is it, okay, it's the one just there towards the cocktail bar? Oh, both of them. Wow, that is very, very big. That must be the Twitch drone.
Yeah.
Must have slipped in there, and all it just adds on to, hey, you should have brought the mute.
Absolutely. It's kind of shocking to not see the mute as well.
You always, if you're playing Mira on Cafe, you bring a mute.
I feel like
Trust me,
Falcons are
you
trying to
bring
play too far into the whole Fenrir and Solus sort of game, which isn't kind of working for them at the minute.
And NiP, this is where they're in their element, where they have that opening pick. They can probe, they can drone freely, they can find out where players are, and they will jump you with everything that they have. Joker is underneath Skylight right now. He hasn't been pressured as of yet. O-Kills maybe looking to see if anyone is straggling on towards that east side of the building. And Pino will find him an upside down rappel. He's ready for O-Kills, and again, that's too predictable because that's exactly what they did yesterday.
I was going to say, if Pino misses that, he's really been hard done to by some timing because he spent over a minute looking at that doorway there. He's really been very patient on that one. Now the pressure starts to mount as Pino's actually got himself into washroom. He's got a nice little challenge at the top of these white stairs as well. Switches to the skeleton key, but thinks better of it. He knows he's getting pushed from both sides, but the mirror has ducked down those white stairs. Great shot from Pino. Joker, he gets caught in the crossfire, and it's all down to P9. He's going to try and make his way back up these white stairs. Gets a good little point of damage in, but 1 versus 3. Needs to try and single these out somewhat. The diffuser is in the hands of Cons, and P9's location is known now. That kit is going to start to go down. Full white flash. He's spraying for all he's worth. We can see his health getting chunked down there on the side. Wizard finishing things off with the pistol there.
Yeah, the Twitch drone got both mirror windows. Then at that stage, Falcons had to fall back. They couldn't sit in the safety of their mirror windows. And NiP just ruthless again, aren't they? It's very similar to what they were doing yesterday on Cafe. Falcons, couple of question marks. I would say, again, you need to maybe think about the lineup. Again, I think the mute is just, it's such a necessity. I cannot explain how good mute is for those mirror windows. Ain't no one playing Thatcher these days. It's not happening. Ain't no one playing that. The EMP grades are rarely getting a look in as well, because I think Cafe is such a heavy utility map where it does rely on nades, it relies on flashbangs. Teams don't want to bring impact EMPs. They want to bring plenty of burn. I think Aruni always sees a good amount of play. Wamai always sees a good amount of play on this map specifically. There's going to be times where you will need to bring more utility just to get the burn through and just being able to actually get into the building. We talk so many times about Cafe. It is the toughest map to actually get into. The spawn peak game you have to play from the get-go is going to slow you down. Getting up to the rooftop's going to have to slow you down. Hatches, droning, see where they are. It all takes up time, and it's so difficult.
And you don't have to make all of it harder, you just have to make a couple of those elements a little bit harder. Things like this, challenging on the spawn peak. Even if the window's open, it might just force an attacker to go a different direction. You're gonna, we're gonna have to look at this, watch out for peaks, lads. You know, we're maybe gonna keep an eye out on this or that. And it does just take a good 20 to 30 seconds to get yourself in. Look at Muzi, he's not stuck behind the SWAT van, but he's worrying about one window, then he goes to worrying about wedding window. Passage to the building isn't granted, it isn't given for free.
40 seconds gone already.
Now you imagine if you had something that slowed down your information gathering.
Wow, only there
start
was.
To get a little bit
We're talking about
harder.
Vigil, of course, aren't we? Wonder if they're going to try and go for the East take. One thing that NiP did bring a lot yesterday was the Capitao. We've seen them try and execute with that, which worked pretty well for them. Joker, it's a good chunk from a nade, which is surprising as the Wamai, of course.
I feel like Quibs is numbered days here as well. Joker actually does manage to take Pino down there, low health or not. Will be discovered on the drone. Going to see another NiP player now go in and try and take that challenge, but Joker does have the ability to drop. This is better from Falcons. They've picked themselves up a couple of kills. Muzi will find Joker as he moves back to site, but immediately refragged by J-Lad. Psycho, you got half the round to play with. You know where the diffuser is. It's cold. You got 4 kills to find.
Yeah, this is just unwinnable. It really is. You're dropping into a pit of despair, essentially. Falcons, they're going to know where he is. They know he's up in the rooftop. Rava made herself clear very early on. You know, that Parrot's... It's a loud gun. It's pretty loud, isn't it?
Aha.
Big old calibers.
The timeout, potentially?
Yeah, I think you take the time here. Falcons, it just showcases top floor. It works. They didn't go top floor yesterday, which it drove me around the band that they didn't go up there. And there you go. They went top floor, and look what it's rewarded you. I didn't. Oh, top floor is so easy. It's so easy for the defenders because it's so difficult for the attackers.
NiP really getting trapped in that inability to trade. Falcon's going to take a timeout here. Not a bad time to do it. They may have called that before the end of the round. But it will give NiP a little bit of time as well.
I think that's probably a good timeout to call because I assume they'll probably head to kitchen now. So they can talk about how they want to set up kitchen. Because kitchen, you can set up a couple of different ways. You can set up just anchor inside of the site. You can try and utilize things like echo and smoke, just try and run down the clock, which we've seen NiP. I think yesterday in kitchen, they went very minimalistic. All they did was take bakery and just pushed in with a Monty, for example.
Yeah.
You can obviously do the extension in towards bakery, extensions towards restaurant VIP. You can go for a roam. It's up to Falcons how they kind of feel and what kind of vibe they're getting, and then they'll go from there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Monty comes in immediately for NiP if they know it is basement, because that is a comfort pick for them almost. And honestly, the fact that it's even made through the ban list is a bit of a surprise as well, because you would have thought that would be target number 1 just for that site specifically.
A lot of teams immediately ban away that shield when they're going up against NiP because they know that that's something that they will start to use. We'll see if the 6 pick comes through. So we do move into preparation phase. We are getting a couple of 6 picks. So cons over onto the Ossa.
Yes, they did this yesterday, remember. They had the Ossa. It kind of plays similar to the Monty, but it gives you a little bit more, obviously, like fragging power, because you actually have a gun with that operator, unlike the Monty. What NiP will try and achieve is just a simple clear. They will just move around the map, clear everything, and they will try and target that backside, that freezer. They'll try and drop in with the Ossa, get the shield set up on the doorway, and then plant under the cover of that.
Oh dear, oh dear.
That's a good start because that's the Lion, which we know teams will struggle against. It's always going to be good in those kind of late seconds to go for the push, and we've always talked about NiP. Whenever it does get to the later stages, they inject themselves with adrenaline and away they go.
They usually are good in the latter stages of a round, and a Lion can certainly assist that. Certainly did wonders for them in that opening round as well, to working quickly off the back of that drone information. And let's be honest, it's Muzi. You don't really, I mean, you don't want to lose anybody, but Muzi could be an incredible fragger on his day.
Oh yeah, he was standout in this matchup yesterday. Yeah. He was the killer for NiP. Falcons, you know, the fact that they've got that first pick, we've talked about how important that is against a slow team like NiP, where every bit of utility, every player matters for NiP. NiP excel whenever they have that lone man, that extra man, and we see they're very clever in using the extra man, being able to send them to just a random point of the map, and will move in and backstab and hit you where you least expect it.
Pino, not sure how he's got himself into Freezer here. He's going to try and do something with it. Psycho, he's able to take down J-Lad. Feel as though Pino knows that he's hunting up here, but he's maybe not entirely sure what. Might have a clue that it's the Fenrir now, as he is going to do a little bit of remodeling up there, but both players just skirting around each other from the time being. With the man count currently as it sits, a 4 versus 3, it's essentially a good opportunity for NiP to hit the site, and maybe they know that.
Brilliant from P9. That's what you need to get, is you need to be able to pick off these individual players. Wizard is known just to kind of hold the flanks by himself. He will be that player who will sit and do the boring job almost, but it hasn't worked out for him that time. He got a bit of excitement and it's almost been too much for him. Just, he's not expecting to see players so early in his face, but that does come with playing against Falcons, who are a very aggressive side. But Joker, I cannot stress how well he's doing. The time he's wasting, Quibs is trying to challenge onto the most important operator for NiP. He's setting the shield up outside only, but look at the time it's slowly ticking away. Joker is still on check, and he could maybe get a kill here. They have no idea where he is.
I'm not sure how Pino has managed to dance around Joker for that long, but he's gotten away with it. Picks up the kill over onto Pino. Maybe a second, not quite. Levels things up, 2 versus 2, trying to get a bit of info onto side cons. He was trying to move through with that Ossa shield, but it just wasn't enough. Quibs was able to find the angle from below, and well, Psycho, he's going to drop into the freezer. Knows that there's likely going to be one inside of Christmas, lights him up a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. P9 locked down the site on his own for the whole round, still picked up 2 kills.
Yeah, you have to highlight P9, you have to highlight Joker. Joker wasting the time of the roam game was done extremely well. NiP, I'm scratching my head, thinking,
drones.
Why is he not getting collapsed on immediately?
You can't solo clear the top floor.
I feel as though NiP did really well in hunting roamers yesterday as well.
They've done fantastically today. Think about some of the rounds on border. Even some of the early rounds here. This was almost the beginning of the end.
You've been in the receiving end of that a few times, haven't you?
I tell you what.
This is what you need to see from P9. I love that. He knows he has to get the kill back, and then obviously, yeah, Joker unchecked all day of the week. And then a very important kill as well from Quibs. You know, everyone from Falcons, that was one of the occasions where they've all just had their own individual 1v1s and won them. But NiP, for the most part, they just lacked any real bite. You know, it's a shark, but it's a shark with no teeth.
Well, there was no commitment, was there? Pino was in on the top floor on his own, and he wasn't really able to ever do anything. You can't jump in a drone if you're upstairs on your own because you're worried about getting swung, so you need someone and it all comes back to that spot peak.
Yeah.
Because it comes back to the fact that they didn't have that extra man to really help things go in the early stage of the round, whether Muzi was going to be behind a drone or on it. 2-2, all level here. We can't stress the importance of this matchup enough either for NiP. If they lose this, they're out.
That's it. Do or die.
Home time.
It is. And Falcons obviously playing for the pride of the country. A lot of pressure on that, isn't it? It's your own backyard. You need to...
Yeah. When you put it like that.
I'm not saying it's World Cup levels of intensity, but to us gamers, it is.
I think some of the Falcons fans sat in the stage it will be as well.
NiP, 2 more rounds. and they're up against the mirror window setup for this reading once again. But Falcons have kind of changed it a little bit, Ollie. They've went for a castle now. So they probably thought that Joker isn't maybe getting enough support. He doesn't feel as safe. So they've brought in the castle barricade to try and assist that. Cigar Shop, in general, is one of the smallest rooms. What a swing from Joker. He's getting away with murder today, Ollie.
Psycho's had a nightmare there. He's lost both of his shock drones. He's gone to peek the hatch and immediately been domed. Another round where NiP are going to be fighting from behind.
I even like this position as well from O-Kills, even ready to try and support Joker. Because it's very rare you'll find two people drop red. And even holding the flank from that doesn't really happen because people think, no one flanks red, no one will expect that, we're always going to hold that. But actually backfires against you.
Especially when there's an air job there as well, you really do sort of take it out of your mind and you're like, we'll wait for the air job to go off.
I think Falcons are understanding the meta very well.
Yeah.
Very well with how you need to play and how you need to get in there with the refrags. I'm impressed with the improvement. And you know, yeah, look at that. You're never going to expect someone to go for those swings. Just a little bit of damage to cons, a little bit more to O-Kill, sure, but it just makes NiP worry a little bit more. A minute to go, Ollie, and all they have is red stairs. That's all they have.
They're going to kill onto J-Lads. They finally leveled things up a little bit as well. But there's a heck of a long way to go here, especially when you consider that you've got things like memory gadgets to go through.
Let's go through the blooming mirror window still as well.
Yeah, you got the mirror window. You didn't get any value out of the shock drone, so you've got that to contend with.
I have a feeling that they're probably going to panic NiP, and they may just think, right, we either have to do or die. We have to try and sweep the top floor, get these kills, and that's where Joker's going to pounce because they're not taking the time to drone. And Joker, no, never mind, he gets caught out, Ollie. A pre-fire from Muzi will go in. His Quib's going to be ready. No, misses the shots, and Cons finds two. NiP, they had to take the chance, Ollie. They just had to say, we have to go for kills. This is all we can do, and it's worked out for them. O-Kills now on a 1 versus 4. Does find one. Two of them in the corridor. Gets one, but not the second. Wizard ready. Quick on the trigger. NiP, it was looking desperate, Ollie, for a stage there. A minute to go. Nothing really going for them. And they say, you know what, let's just outgun them, and they did just that.
It's one of the things we often say about teams that are on the edge of greatness is they're able to pull rounds out of nowhere, and NiP really pulled that one out of nowhere. They lost first blood again, they didn't get the best value out of their utility, and it really seemed like they didn't have many places to go. But a good bit of teamwork there really led in, and a bit of fortune as well. There's potential for a bit of overpeak there on the side of Falcons. You could look at a couple of those kills and go, was it just a little bit too aggressive? Did we really need to try and retake up White Stairs? Or could Quibs have dropped off through the laundry hatch a little bit sooner? All of those things can be looked at in detail afterwards, but NiP made good decisions in the moment. And I think they were left with no option. They just had to press on.
Final round, we go upstairs, which was probably the best round the Falcons had. It was over before it really started for NiP. And NiP, well, they brought out their old friend, Old Faithful. You know, that's what it's like. It's whenever things, it's really getting down to it. It's the final battle scene. The old man walks in, and on the wall, on the mantelpiece, Old Faithful.
Yep.
That's what the Montagne is for NiP.
It's a hero film, isn't it? You know, the young superhero goes to his old father who's a retired superhero and he passes him across the whatever it is.
It's Batman giving up a suit, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, you get the suit,
Tony
you
Stark.
get the car, whatever it might be, and you pull the dust cover off it and it's as good as all the modern stuff. In reality, it's just a shield that's bulletproof.
It's just a shield, that's it.
But sometimes it's enough. The only thing I don't like is I don't like Cons on it. He's 7-3 at the minute. He's doing really well. He's had a cracking game so far.
Yeah. I've seen that a few times where NiP, sometimes the top fragger does take the shields operators, for example. I think Pino was doing it as well in Clash, I think yesterday for a few times. But anyway, NiP, gonna need to make this round count. I had a Stormer off an attacks yesterday on Cafe, but here it's not working out too well for them. If they lose this round, it will be an even half, which, I mean, I think for Falcons, they'll be more than happy because it shows improvements from what it was yesterday. And then they still get a chance to attack this map also. Falcons going to play that man suicide position inside Cigar Shop. Doesn't really have too much protection, only not a lot of utility. Again, a mute jammer would have been great just to deny that access. I think NiP have really relied on, you know, is the drone work today.
Ooh, Psycho. Has he fallen off a rappel? J-Lad going to finish him off there. Wizard will be there for the trade back immediately. He seemed to fall and down himself as he got down the red hatch. Not really too sure what went on there for poor old Psycho, but J-Lad going to be in a bit of a tricky situation. No way, the Monty unshielded. Cons is feeling himself today. Wizard was there for the backup, but that was a risky play. Advantage currently NiP. Cons can now start to move through and further gather a little bit of information, but he needs a bit more support here.
Need the mirror windows now to really come into play. A lot of nades being tossed at P9. He does move out of that. Maybe looking to try and activate. Oh, trying to activate that gadget on the doorway, but it's being denied it right now by Pino. P9 will take up the position behind the mirror window. But there is still some Selma charges that Wizard can use, Ollie.
Gonna be maybe looking to focus those onto the mirror windows. It's all about the timing. Cons, he'll be worried about that white stairs flank. That's a big point of vulnerability here at the moment for him. O'Kills will be down there. Quibs just trying to provide a little bit of distraction here, but with how solo Cons is, it isn't ideal. P9 will find himself down.
No! Cons is unshielded on.
He unshielded again. He's got too confident with that. Look at Quibs go. Picks up 2. A lot of information here as well. And now O'Kills can flank. He was up white a second ago, but now he's gone for red. Look at how much time's remaining. There's nothing on the clock.
Skylight drop.
Quibs, he's going to be in the hot seat here. Primed and ready, but taken down by Pino. 1 second. Where's the kit? Nobody grabs the kill.
Where was the kit?
And Falcons secure the round.
Where was the kit? Falcons are looking at each other like, what's going on? But that was close. Falcons, I mean, Quibs, obviously the mirror window. For some reason, Cons is unshielded.
Again,
I don't know why.
Second time that round.
He's done that. He pays the price. And then Quibs shows, again, the power of the mirror window. You cannot challenge against that if you're in Piano. You get melted immediately. Where's this diffuser? So Muzi has it at the moment. Where's Muzi died? It was in Piano the whole time. It was in Piano the whole time. NiP are kicking themselves at that.
Yeah, they'll be frustrated with that one. Really frustrated. It's a 3-3 half, though.
Yeah.
It isn't the end of the world. It isn't terrible for either side. NiP will be looking at going, God, that really should have been 4-2. Falcons on the flip side, they should be pretty happy.
A lot of issues. Whew. Right, here we go. Round 7, first defense for NiP. And the lineup's a little bit different. We're seeing a Frost come in. We're seeing an Alibi come in. A couple of interesting pickups. No
Psycho's a
C4s.
Bailiff player.
I mean, more the gun more than anything, I would say, for the MX4 Storm. Falcons and their lineup, again, more nades. That's what they like. We've seen them excel really well with that on border. And again, I've talked about the utility dump that is always going to be featured on a map like Cafe. It's very, very important. They will be looking for the east side at take, mostly because nades are a lot better for east side, because you get better nades.
Go! J-Lad, that was perfect. It was the teamwork that went with it. He maybe finds himself a second here. He's going to have to play the dance inside of that laundry rotate, though. Cons.
Oh, Cons.
He's aware. Muzi's there as well. J-Lad finds himself a second. What a lucky headshot. Till taken down.
Two of them back up.
You'd be back up. You'd be happy if you were J-Lad with that. 2 for 1.
NiP have committed 4 players. They've lost 2.
I'll take that every day of the week.
That's it.
Every day of the week.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Now they're really grasping
Who was
at
that?
straws.
Who was that?
Cons back in the fray of things again. I mean, Falcons right now, I mean, Piano is an absolute freeb. No one's over there now.
The site feels free. You've only got 3 defenders. You can't watch everything. It's surely only a matter of time.
And that's just it with Cafe. There's so many ways in, Ollie. You have skylight drops. You have the hatches you can drop. You have all the windows you can go into. Man advantage is so key on Cafe because, like you said, it does feel like as a defender, if you're behind man advantage, you're trying to hold 10 different things at once, and you can't do that.
Cons, unfortunate there, not to land.
They know he's below now.
Better shot, but
that's it.
4 versus 1. Cons, they're going to be coming up these stairs. O'Kills actually gets caught out in a frost mat there in the final few seconds, but it won't matter anything. Final kill comes through there for Falcons. What an explosive entry from J-Lad.
What a mess from NiP. What a mess. They just ran around. That's what it felt like. Almost tier 3-ish. With the way it was, they just kept running around looking for kills, jumping out windows. You know, I don't know, it wasn't clean at all for NiP. you know, two of them downstairs, and we see Collins jump out a window and needlessly swing onto a skylight, for goodness sake. Nobody watching piano. All over the place.
No surprise to note now that NiP have taken their time out. They've chosen now as a good time to try and steady this ship.
If you're Chubbs and you've watched that round behind, you want to call the timeout.
You would be going mental.
Look, don't really know what that was.
Do you speak Portuguese? Like,
no,
or are you just making things up again? Are we going for the...
We spent a year in Brazil. If we didn't get it by then, I don't think we'll get it by now. 2
rounds until Falcons will be on a map and series point here.
Everyone enjoying themselves, having a good time.
I think we'll go and watch the next game in the stage.
See, people don't actually know. They're not Falcons fans. They're there to see Chambers. They don't realize that he's big. He's worldwide.
Round number 8 now as it rolls on in. More of the last round, please, from Falcons.
So if we're saying that, you know, Monty's kind of old faithful, Castle's old reliable.
Old reliable,
That's the second one.
A little duo, aren't they?
Honestly, NiP, they love the Castle. We've seen so much gameplay. And again, I'm still shocked that teams haven't actually went and banned the Castle against them and really ruined probably about half of the strats that NiP have.
Best thing about the last round is it didn't really matter where the site was. There was 0 site play.
You'd think that was like a mid-floor.
It could have been anywhere. Yeah. It really could have been anywhere. It just didn't matter. Falcons were just better.
So this is very nice from NiP. I love the setup that we see inside of Cigar Shop. That's, honestly, it's probably one of the only places I would say, yeah, observation blockers actually get a ton of value, is literally for this one bomb site on this one room and this one map. That's the only way I'm giving credit to that gadget at the moment. If you think about how Cigar Shop works, the biggest issue with that is if someone is on this rappel that you see Joker on, with that observation blocker, you're able to stop any drones wins, and then Joker can swing freely if he knows he has a free kill. He'll not be able to see that, and you know, Joker's not just going to stick his head in through a window where he has no idea what he's swinging into.
Joker going to be hanging out on the rappel, gets a good bit of value out of the drone there, figures out that majority of piano is going to be clear.
I like Wizard's position downstairs. I think that just adds an extra layer into the kind of support that you're trying to structure with the whole piano Cigar Shop, because they kind of complement one another as well, isn't it? Where he's inside Cigar Shop, you know, if they start pushing in towards piano, he can just easily see 4 below.
Jayla going to make his way up those white stairs with the parity in hand, takes Muzi down. Muzi not having a great time of things at the minute. 3 and 7. Isn't going to cut the mustard. Psycho to be at the top of white stairs on Lumber, just seeing if there's anything that he can do to try and assist this push and to stop it from going forward. Cons, he'll be in position to take O-kills down. NiP can breathe a sigh of relief. There's only going to be 1 nade left in the hands of Falcons. But at an equal 4-4, and especially with the map control now that Falcons own, not doing too badly. Looks like they got a bit of information here for white stairs as well.
Yeah, and Hatch is also soft inside piano. Joker gets a freebie, yeah. But piano is open to them. They can have the Hatch. They can maybe try and drop in towards Train, and this is where NiP are getting really desperate. Only a flank up red stairs. P9 is ready for it. And NiP, it seems to be similar to last round where they're just running around trying to get kills, but Falcons, they're just playing it very calm, very collected. We've seen a couple of pings, good information. They're doing the basics right.
Great information exchange, I think, from Falcons, and they've really covered the map quite well as well. We've seen players like J-Lad, he's been in, you know, in through the top white and out. Joker again, he's been covering the map like a midfielder. Wizard, he's going to find himself 1 over onto P9. He's got a bit of information here. Does he know that J-Lad's down? The C4 might confirm both of them here. He'll only grab 1. Quibs in position to grab that final kill. We edge ever closer here to Falcons locking in these playoffs.
I think Joker just everywhere that map, creating the chaos for NiP. And for NiP on Cafe, it seems to be a similar issue with Border. Because I feel that...
You all right?
Just taking in the culture.
Just taking in the crowd. It's nice to not hear like a let's go chant, you know? I think we had a bit of let's go Falcons at the start. We can let them off for that one, but...
Now we've just got, oh.
I'm here for it. For the flags, I'm here for it.
But yeah, Joker being able to create the chaos. And NiP, same issues what they had in Border. They lose a player, they lose a portion of the map, and they don't really do anything to get it back. They don't do anything. And they're getting frustrated. you can see the emotions. Like, he's not happy.
I think they're happy.
Yeah, they're buzzing.
I think Falcons are really pleased. Falcons will go for the fight today as well. Yeah, feels a little bit different. That confidence is returned a little bit, hasn't it? It's like, yeah, we've gotten over the stage now. We've gotten over the main stage fight. You've got to remember that NiP as a team, as a core, have played on stages all over the world.
Biggest stages of the world.
And the biggest stages in Siege. This is a fantastic stage, and it's pretty huge. Falcons, yeah, they played Gamers8 last year, and the stage this year is a little bit bigger and better. It's a big undertaking to play on that sort of a stage.
Of course, we've talked about this before. It's the work in progress for this side. We know that the best is yet to come for this Falcons side, but if they can knock off a big team like NiP on the way to lifting that trophy this weekend, I mean, what a story going forward for this side, because we know that this side, in terms of mana, they're always going to be the favorites to qualify into the majors because they are the best team in this region.
Let's see if they can handle the pressure. As we've already mentioned, we're edging closer to Falcons locking in that playoff spot. NiP very much in a do-or-die position. They need to pick up a couple of rounds here and at least level things out. You can already sort of see an overtime in NiP's future if they are to be successful on this map. I just don't want to see NiP trying too hard for this. They need to be smart with the Siege that they're playing. I don't feel like we're seeing very smart Siege out of NiP at the moment.
It's panic stations. If something goes wrong, someone tries to fix it, and they almost, you know, whenever someone tries to fix a mistake and they've made an even bigger mistake, that's what it's like.
It's kind of funny as well because Falcons are going for quite an NiP sort of style approach here.
Yeah, they're
waiting for mistakes, seeing if they can force an error.
So there is 3 players upstairs for NiP. One guy is going to be positioned inside Piano, one in bathroom, and also one at the back of Cocktail. So they're not, I would say, together in terms of refrags. Like, I'd be surprised if, you know, the guy in Piano is able to get refragged with the positions that the Wamai's in, with the position that the guy in Cocktail could be as well. Cons, he's actually found to pick. I wonder where that's from. Is that a run out? Yeah, he's killed the guy, I think, rappelling towards east, and that's where Diffuser is as well, so keep an eye on that. That may come in to bite Falcons in the behind later on. They need to pick up that Diffuser. With only 45 seconds, someone's going to need to go and do that job.
P9's going to clean up for the nades that missed earlier on. Wizard, he's successful on 2 kills, but P9's just going to keep on going. He finds his second of the round. Now he'll open up that castle barricade and see if there's anything that he can find. Psycho picks one, but he isn't good for the second. All level at 2 versus 2. The HP advantage firmly with the Falcons.
Looking Piano right now, we see a rotation from Cons. He's actually walked all the way out white stairs, and they have no idea. Never mind, they did. Quibs had an idea who was there, and it goes essentially into a 1 versus 1, and Quibs has to get the kill. There is no Diffuser, and he gets the kill, Ollie! I was worried so much about Falcons. The Diffuser was outside, it was in the snow, it was buried in the snow. And somehow they just move in, kill after kill after kill, and they end up on top.
Match the series point here for Falcons, and you can hear that crowd. They're getting ready to roar if Falcons are going to walk away with this one and lock in that playoff spot. NiP, they're playing scared. They really got caught off guard there. I think Cons did a good job of obviously swinging and picking up that kill. Pino stayed alive for a good deal of time. He got quite fortunate with the nade timing, but it was just a desperate attempt to try to refrag onto P9 that really caused the downfall there for NiP.
Psycho, he finds one, but he had no idea about the second.
He didn't have a clue, did he?
No idea. And in this kill here, Quibs, he didn't know he was there because he wasn't really holding the angle onto Pixel. So Quibs, honestly, the man off the round, Ollie. My goodness. Woo!
Really good on the pre-fires as well.
Yeah. Very sharp.
Very impressive.
Very sharp.
Could have very easily lost that engagement there with Muzi, especially if you think about the 9mm close range like that, it's going to chew through you.
If this team beats NiP, they've knocked off the SI21 champions. Last year they knocked off the SI22 champions, and as we've seen, they've knocked off the SI23 champions. Oh my goodness. A team from Men has done that? Serious?
The thing is, strange things will have happened. Like, I saw the tweet from Pojo where he was like, oh, you won SI? Oh, you changed the player? Oh, you went to...
Did they beat SSG last year?
Yeah, we got knocked out.
Did they beat SSG last year?
I'd have to look it up. I can't recall.
Or did Canio and his lot knock them off? What's worse, losing the Falcons or losing the Canio?
The way the Falcons have played today, they would deserve that playoff spot entirely. Played fantastically, especially considering we were given this to be a NiP map.
I mean, the maps just across the board. I mean, you would just favor NiP. This is the thing for Falcons. I just feel as though this competition, you're always going to favor whoever they're up against just because they don't have the experience compared to some of the teams that are here at this event. But they've proved us wrong.
Yeah.
And we love this. This is what it's all about.
And the thing is, they're gaining that experience. And every event that ticks by, you take them a little bit more seriously.
They get the feeling of winning about them.
Get that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they've still got to lock it in here. It really isn't over just yet. NiP, they like the last 15 seconds of a clock. They love a best of 3. They quite like making things hard for himself.
Well, they went Kitchen Ollie. And
Can't
looking
mark
at
just
this,
yet.
looking at the setup on Kitchen downstairs, it's something that you expect to see. It's a coverage of every area of that basement. You have the VIP restaurant in towards bakery. Basically what Falcons did. Falcons will be just straight in. They'll see that. They have the Jackal to assist with this attack specifically if there is the odd roamer, which we've seen Falcons execute a very good roam on their defense. And now they can just rip up everything. But as you can see, everyone is away from the bomb site. That's how it happens. Whenever you know you're dealing with a bomb site that is so heavy in vertical destruction, you have to try and hold the map from other positions. You have to try and get into positions that you know teams are still going to have to push and still use utility in that doesn't rely on verticality.
Jayla just seeing if he can catch anybody here rotating out or moving between those ancillary positions. He knows there's somebody inside of Christmas, but Wizards a little bit quicker on the trigger. Joker, he's dropped in as well. There's a heavy focus here on the bottom of these white stairs. We've got O'Kills moving into position for this as well. Wizards able to grab himself another. He's done his job and more, but no, he's taken out. And now Falcons have access to the site. Not only that, but they've got the diffuser with him.
P9 looking to creep down towards red stairs. Pre-fires, the smoke is there, but Psycho finds Joker, who was in the bomb site. Down goes P9. Psycho with the double kill, and Quibs, well, he done well to get that first kill, but that's all they're gonna get. Only the 1 kill around. NiP holding it down firm. I think that first kill, Ollie, inside a restaurant was a very important one to get for NiP.
NiP did a really good job of keeping things quite simple there. No extended roam, no worry about the rest of the map. It was very simply, we give them the control and we are just going to wait. This is match point. We know this means a lot to both sides, and we're just going to bank on them making a couple more mistakes. Hey, look, we've got the phones out now. We got the screen with the little Falcon sort of letters on it. I'm here for it. Great position holding there from Wizard. And again, you know, there's a question to say, did Falcons do all that they could to get rid of that Christmas player? Where was the player at the bottom of Brown? You know, where was the player on the double window? O'Kills gets there maybe a little bit quicker, can start to throw a nade in. Obviously, you've got a little bit of burn to contend with. Yeah. But I think the Flores stun that went through flashed immediately, so I don't think Wizard have played any of his utility in there.
You always mentioned about, you know, Falcons knocking off SI. King George is here. Should we have King George versus Falcons? See if they can knock him off.
Honestly, mention King George so many different
1v5. Honestly, I think George, he'd be in for a look-in.
I haven't seen him yet.
You haven't seen him yet? No. Neither have I. But he is here. Or did I make it all up?
Made all
I made it all up. He's not here. I'm pretty sure he's here. I think him and Bolo are...
I saw Bolo.
Yeah,
I saw Bolo bring the trophy out.
Down into the reading now, Ollie, is where we head. NiP having to pull 2 rounds in a row, Ollie, to take it to OT. Falcons, what is their approach going to be? Obviously, NiP will look to hold that top floor. They went with the castle barricade setup in towards Cigar Shop and have extended once again towards the likes of the back of Cocktail, in towards Bathroom. But really, the first issue that they're going to struggle with, Falcons, is just getting rid of Muzi. They don't have a hefty amount of utility. They brought 9 breaching charges, so they're missing the odd flashbangs here and there. Only the 2 sets of nades. And there is ADSs on board also. So I think they'll struggle in that department.
Activating replicator.
There are still things they can use to burn those ADSs, but it is less than ideal to be using those air jabs, for example.
Muzi's actually dropped off. He's not in Cigar Shop anymore.
You see a bit of a rotation now coming up through those white stairs as well.
Muzi's in Bathroom, has the mirror window. You see the perspective he gets, and you see it kind of covers majority off piano. And also one thing as well about the mirror window that Muzi is behind is you can get a really good angle towards anyone walking in towards Cocktail Bar. He's not actually behind it though, Ollie, but I'm sure that the IQ will probably be scared as he goes for the swing. I'm really shocked that they've actually left that mirror window.
The mirror is definitely a power position, especially given that the castle barricade's on there as well. You've not even got the vulnerability from the rappel. ADS played in there as well. It's a bit of utility that maybe could have been played for a little bit longer, but NiP obviously comfortable enough to drop back off that for the time being.
Has been dropped.
A little bit of diffuser juggling going on as well. Muzi, he's going to strike first. Position to knock Joker down.
I worry now for Falcons.
Don't like Quibs' position at the moment.
Oh, Jalad has got in towards Train Ollie and will try and see if he can maybe enter in towards Dining. He is by himself, so no one's going to be there for a refrag to help him out. P9 has somehow stumbled his way in towards Red Corridor, Ollie towards Pillars, and that is a deadly position to be in. Oh, a great kill. I thought Wizard were going to have the advantage on him, but P9 was ready for it. And now Falcons are in a position where they could maybe try and get the plant out, but never mind. Muzi will eliminate Jalad, who was trying to support P9 as they were trying to work their way into the bomb site.
P9 now is going to be in the read in 90, gets a chance, but that's all you ever will see against Psycho. This is immediately taken on out. Psycho collecting the final two. You cannot give NiP the momentum here. You need to close it out, Falcons. This is getting a little bit dangerous. I'm starting to smell an overtime.
Shaky. Very, very shaky. NiP didn't really have to do much, did they? I mean, I felt as though Falcons never really wanted to take above. Did they really want to take anything? It felt very strange, very by themselves, everyone trying to do their own thing, but you know, instead of all meeting at the one place, you know, this guy, he's turned up 5 minutes early. This guy, he's just arrived. This guy didn't even get a message. That's what it feels like.
Did we not get the booking time correct on the reservation?
Group chat in shambles.
Group chat's in shambles. NiP have been given a chance and an opportunity here. One round here would see us catapulted into an overtime, and then it's anyone's. Filler starts to become a very real possibility at that point.
We do, however, go downstairs now into the kind of fourth choice bomb site for the most part for a lot of teams. It's going to be that mining and dining. NiP have lost this bomb site already here in this series. See if they can change anything up. Again, that cigar shop being locked down by that trusted castle. Did I? Yeah, just seeing. What was I just seeing? I seen something. Yeah, they've opened up the entirety of the freezer wall, so that's going to give them a good hefty rotate in and out. You see, it's kind of like a maze, almost like a. It's kind of like a triangle where you can move in and out around everything. Castle barricade to stop the angle and skylight, which is good as well. Of course, the only issue with that is if the castle barricade goes down, that rotates null and void then. So it's a good setup from NiP. It does rely on Falcons being very lackluster with the utility there, but Falcons have been pretty good today. Opened up a lot of castle barricades.
Yeah, Falcons have been pretty efficient on that. They've got plenty of tools to deal with that as well. They've got the Hibana, they've got the Ash. They've got quite a lot they can do to deal with that at range. Wizard just going to be occupying the site on his own for the time being. Quibs. Maybe going to go for a bit more of a direct approach. There's a few drones swarming the site there. Surely they're going to opt to take this vertical control first. If the hatch... Well, the hatch is actually reinforced as well, so there's no quick option for these defenders to get back down to site.
Oh, I like this position from J-Lad because he's going to try and primarily take down the player inside of Reading, which is the castle at the moment. Psycho actually controls a lot of the fundamentals of what NiP are wanting to achieve with this particular bomb site. Reading kind of controls the flow of how the game goes. If the attackers have control of Reading, pretty much it cuts off all the flanks. You don't have control of white stairs, you don't have control of red. If they take down Psycho and Reading, that will prove very, very vital. Cons has been eliminated with a nade. An opening kill goes in favor of Falcons. NiP losing that first engagement, and typically that doesn't bode well. And also that's Cons who's been their best player today.
Cons has been a standout so far for NiP. Another player you want to be seeing down first. Psycho
holds his
will
own.
be there with the bite back though, taking down P9.
See, it's such an important position so we can rotate between the staircases, make sure he can support pretty much everyone on his team. Crucial position.
The fact that Psycho has survived in there, it just adds further strength to this hole that NiP have got going on.
Ooh, Joker doesn't
Joker
know.
to try and make his way up the stairs, but he had no idea that Muzi was occupying that space. Now Muzi can look for a bit of a rotation. Well, that was almost the collapse, at least the start of it. Quibs, upside down rappel. We've got 4 kills to find in 30 seconds. Otherwise, we're facing overtime.
I think we are facing overtime now, Ollie. Quibs has a lot to do. 20 seconds on the clock. This isn't an ad for Pengu, don't worry. Diffuser cold in the site as well. Has to get that picked up, but yeah, I just think the time's against them now. But NiP held it very well, Ollie. They held their power positions against Psycho. You have to give a nod to him, as he does just bite the bullet. But never in doubt for NiP. So it is going to be an OT, Ollie. Falcons have let it slip, and they've opened the door, and NiP have moved in, and it looks as if they're maybe going to try and lock the door behind them.
Really curious now to see what sides we get. I really want to know the side switch here, because NiP, they've started to come alive a little bit here. They started off the game fantastically well. They've got a great form of starting off the game in a fine fashion and then dropping off slowly but surely.
Oh, love it.
Fantastic name.
Yeah, Psycho, that's the position I like to see Psycho. Being able to rotate, being able to actually swing when it matters, unlike what he was doing on Border. That's whenever it works, and Psycho's very strong. I think Psycho's very good in positions where it does require a bit of movement, a bit of mobility, whereas you figure that position in Border,
it's too static.
You have to sit in the one spot. You don't really have a lot of room to maneuver, where he's very flexible, and if you give him space to roam, yeah, he can do wonders. Weezy's loving it. He wasn't loving it a few rounds ago, though.
He certainly wasn't.
But they've pulled it out.
8 and 8, he's pulled it back. Defense for Falcons.
I want to say this will favor them a bit more.
NiP started off really strong on the attack. Falcons, they didn't start off fantastically on the defense. They really warmed into it.
But look at the bomb site choice.
Yeah, we're back to the top floor.
Played it twice, won it twice. Yeah. And that's really, as long as you get the one round, that's all you need, isn't it? It's overtime. You don't need to do a full rotation, Ollie. Just a few will do.
I'm surprised that we've not seen the Twitch come out. Psycho's had mixed success with the Twitch and those shock drones versus these mirror windows. One round we see him get both. The next round we don't see him get any. So, you know, it would have been nice to maybe see him try that again, but instead going to be opting for the Flores. Adding into that soft destruction.
Falcons doing same old, nothing too crazy. Set up the mirror windows. Bit of pressure in towards Piano. Seems as though NiP, they're happy enough to start probing that Piano side of the map. That's really going to try and go for, because you'd see a lot more pressure towards the kind of east side at this stage if it was going to be the other end of the spectrum. Again, for Cafe, you choose, do you either go Piano or do you go Cocktail Bar? You don't have a choice. That's the only really two attacks you have for top floor. And I think that's probably an element of why it makes it really difficult, just in this bomb site in general, because you don't have a lot of options. Unless NiP have cooked up, you know, a skylight drop.
The thing is, you've usually got to do a little bit of something in the other place as well. You can't just solely focus on one or the other.
That's poor.
Pino, he's dominated this rappel on the attacks. Absolutely loves the south rappel.
Yeah, Joker, if you're playing in that position, you should know that you can get killed from that window, and he turns his back to him. Very strange.
Okil's looking for a little bit of a flank here.
It's 2 air jabs.
Got the air jabs to contend with. Maybe he's not too concerned if he can just get a nice little ang.
Maybe get a freebie here, Ollie, because
if he catches someone on the drop,
the air jab kind of gives a bit of false confidence. So, and it will, Ollie.
Not only is the Heart Breacher no secondary gadget either, it's going to make moving through into that freezer area a little bit more difficult.
Mirror windows untouchable, essentially. Massive kill. NiP are going to really struggle with eliminating the mirror windows. You've seen them struggle against Quibs on it. The last round they were up here. And O'Kills is now going to come back to side. Again, even O'Kills is still going to be a threat, because that's the Solus. It's been displayed that they have the Solus. He could rotate below and stop a plant in the late stage.
Who's he going to move in? He's got a good bit of info on the IQ scanner, but happy enough to proceed.
Look at the rotate now from NiP. 2 on the skylight. 1 player going over towards the east. Ollie, they're maybe looking for a skylight drop and using the windows to try and swing in, realizing the mirror windows are not going to let them through, but down goes the man on the east rappel. A great C4. But they still have more players that they need to find, but Falcons are in a great position. Down goes 2 in towards the skylight. O'Kills will find Wizard, and both of them trapped inside of Long Bar. They will get shredded. Falcons into the meat grinder. They put NiP. NiP, they went for a last gasp. As soon as they lose that ace, Ollie, like you mentioned, that's it.
Yeah,
it's done.
Absolutely
it's done.
Gone. They threw the kitchen sink down the skylight in an attempt to try and make something happen, and all they did was just fall into the guns of Falcons that were waiting for them. fantastic play from O'Kills.
Yeah. There's that little pick, just
navigating the air jabs is
false.
Sense of security. Little bit of a sound sort of buffer as well. You've got a slight bit of distraction with a little beep beep going on. Brilliant timing.
I'm very impressed today.
Match and series point now for Falcons for the second time. Here we are, locked into the overtime. Are we going to need every available round, or are Falcons going to be able to get it done here and now? The side switch, NiP take us downstairs. This is where they first saw some success on their defenses. They came downstairs to the kitchen after a timeout, and it worked quite well for them. There was no fancy roam game. There was no serious extension.
Just held their
positions.
It was just
to play your positions.
Falcons obviously realizing that this is going to be the site. They've brought in the Jackal to help them if there is any presence of roamers. Obviously Sledge for the verticality. And the Ossa makes an appearance. Also, Ollie, this is an operator that we've obviously seen NiP. They've tried to adapt into their kitchen attacks where you use that as a form of coverage for the plant. Only the 1C4 from the Warden this time around. Maybe Muzi just preemptively picking that in case there could be the odd, final round rush. You never know.
Well, you never know, do you? It's not a bad gun. You get a decent sight. You get the C4.
I love the way you went decent sight. That's what you mentioned immediately.
These guys love the 1.5 though, don't they? NiP and the 1.5, it's quite the duo. You're really going to force them off it.
I want to see Falcons really try and pressure that player inside of VIP. I feel as though Wizard went really unchecked, and the best way to really apply pressure to someone in that position is, of course, force your way through White Corridor, we know that, but there should also be someone outside main door on that double window that looks in towards Restaurant. That kind of catches the back end, and Wizard I seen him in 2 times where he actually backed up into that vision line, but no one was there. I would like to see that adaptation from Falcons, rotate someone around and just keep applying pressure to NiP. Don't make them feel safe.
Falcons should know exactly where Wizard's going to play. They know that someone's going to be playing inside of Christmas there, and they know how to deal with it. They're just going to go third so far, and why not? If you know that no one's rotating, if you know that no one's roaming, take advantage of it. Really rip open the floor, leave somebody up there, and then you can start to go and catch people below. Setting up this Ossa shield is going to give a little bit more of something to peek from.
Look at Joker
right
now.
Joker is.
Yeah, Joker's around towards that double window. Gilad has been eliminated, though, by Muzi. That was the Ossa, Ollie. That's a bit of an issue now, because that was going to be their main way of getting in and trying to go for a plant. P9 and Joker have rotated towards main door. The main issue is really getting rid of the guy inside a coat. They don't have any nades in a good position to really utilize. As we can see, the Sledge is still upstairs doing verticality. So P9 just has to face check it, and that's never going to be a reliable way. He goes to the pre-fire, but the Fenrir gadget will block the vision. The gun, the MP7 in the close range environment. It's Joker. He's just standing in the toxins.
They can see you. It's only that you can't see them. They can still see through that, and they know exactly.
He thinks he was born in the darkness. He wasn't.
Cons, a tank nade there. Joker, O'Kills. Let's try and work together in these final 25. They're only now just going to be able to get rid of the Fenrir gadget. Really doesn't seem too worth it at this point. Plenty of vert to be looking at as well, but you've got a heck of a lot of kills to find, and Cons isn't going to leave the coat, and he's going to have won the round for his team at this point. O'Kills above, will he find an impactless frag? No. Psycho, he's going to close him down. Every round available, we are going all the way.
We are indeed. They had the right idea, Falcons, but the execution was poor. Very, very poor in how they actually went about that. Losing the Ossa immediately, we didn't see the kill. I'm excited to see the replay because, again, nobody can hide from us, Ollie. We'll see every misplay, every challenge you go for. We've got you.
Let's have a look. J-Lad, what went wrong? Talk to us.
What did go wrong?
I mean, he's going to have peaked, isn't he? The thing is, if you're coming up that against that many problems dealing with the player inside of Christmas, just push Bakery.
Oh,
if you're going to go for all that vert, just
replays.
Push them down. Every time we want the replays, they never turn up, do they? Maybe in the highlight package at the end. Back down to the Bakery we go.
Oh, NiP.
This time...
Oh, how you tease us.
This time it is Falcons on the defense.
Yeah.
Right. This is much better. This is straight out of the strat book from the other day from NiP.
This is direct. This is their minimalistic. All they do will take Bakery and that's it. Capital comes in to help them clear away anyone that could be in towards Bakery. Also helps if anyone's stuck in towards double window.
Also helps if anyone's above.
Yeah, we smoke off the vertical angles. That's also what they did. Good point. This is more what I think NiP they're going to be comfortable with. I hope Falcons have had a watch and they can maybe try and put a fight against it, but with really... There's nothing to counter the Monty. They have literally nothing. Well, a couple of explosives, and that's not going to really do the job. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but NiP, they'll know how to play this. This is, you know, it's like waking up in the morning. That's what it's like for NiP.
Especially with the players that are offside. Look at this! Oh, Joker! Fantastically done.
Massive kill as well. Nade's gone, which, as we know, is vital for clearing out Bakery.
You really do need the nades. Muzi having a hard time of things. 10 and 10. Not always see him going evens.
C4, waste it.
Ooh.
Oh, that's better.
Play from J-Lab.
That's where they struggled last time because they let that wall get opened up and they put someone in a position towards tables so they can eliminate that. A lot better from Falcons. You can see they've adapted.
I think the wall will eventually get opened. I think it did actually go off there as we did see the push back. Just trying to secure that position inside of Wedding.
Oh, P9.
P9, hello? Oh. You're in no man's land here. Goes to detonate the
disabled,
but it's actually caught out by the EMP. Unlucky stuff. That's really unfortunate from Falcons because they've thought about these little steps. They've known what to sort of prep for and what to be aware of.
It's a good angle from Gilad, but he has to make sure he hits the head onto that Capital. But Psycho's called him out. Now he knows where he is. Psycho was so oppressive, wasn't he, on this Monty? He's seen everyone. He knew exactly who everyone was and just fed that information.
And we do have Joker above getting ready for a little bit of vert as well, just inside of that prep. He needs to kind of start making it quickly.
There is a player from NiP actually rotating towards main door. He's trying to go for a bit of a backstab. It's going to be Wizard, and they're going to try and pinch the guys inside of Coat, because Coat's obviously going to be the main issue for them. Getting rid of Coat. If they can take him out, which they have, the backstab pressure, along with Pino fighting the long angle, it has worked. And now Wizard's actually jumped. No, he's not. He's jumped away. I thought Wizard's maybe going to try and take control of Coat, but instead tries to hold the flank.
Doesn't need to commit too hard. Joker could have a part to say about this.
Joker
he is going to be upstairs. He does have the vert to work with, but this is the problem. You've got the Capital arrows coming through and denying.
They've lost the pressure.
He's going to take Cons down. The plant was going down for a time, but Psycho's come off it for a brief moment. He's going to re-attempt here as Pino storms through, taking O-kills down. There's going to be info on this. We can see the bulletproof, but it's likely not going to matter. Pino's going to clean up shop. Joker, he's going to find one onto Psycho, and he's going to leave us in a 1 versus 2 here. Pino, you've got to do everything to keep your team in this, otherwise you're going home. Finds one, doesn't know about the second. Joker, I think he's actually hitting that rotate. He's just at the bottom of those red stairs right now. This would be an ace clutch for Pino to keep NiP in this and to take us on to our third and final map. He's going to get a glimpse, just misses the shot. All he's got to do is stay alive. Pino, look at him go! Keeps NiP in the competition. That is going to be huge for them, an ace clutch to do it.
Fantastic positioning in that late stage of that 1v1. I love the way he just keep moving back. Give yourself the best cover you can have. My oh my, NiP, they go back to basics, Ollie. They go back to what they're comfortable with, what they're used to. Falcons, hey, they gave it a good go. That was a lot better of an attempt than what it was yesterday. We seen they tried to adapt to NiP, but I mentioned earlier in Border, there's strats that you just can't do anything against. You can't.
NiP have grabbed the lifeline there with both hands. Pino, he's done a fantastic job to keep his team in that. And look at him, cool as a cucumber. Not every day you get to see an ace.
Disclaimer,
an ace clutch.
There's still a map to go. It may look as if they've won the map, or they've won the series. They haven't.
They're going to feel like they've won the series. They've kept themselves in it, and we are now locked into a best of one. Tense stuff here on the desk. We're going to hit a very short break. After that, we'll be back with our desk to break down that game and to set us up for our last map here in this lower bracket final.
welcome to an episode of What's That Sound. In this matchup, we have our Falcons representative going up against our M80 representative. It is Joker 619 up against Iconic. Those are the two players who will take part in this matchup. Okay, so let's get your first round ready, and you tell me what this sound is. Would you like a replay?
I think so.
Okay, here we go.
To zero cam.
I think Grim Gadget.
You think Grim Gadget?
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir.
So it is a gadget, but it isn't Grim's gadget. It was Zero.
Zero Gadget.
Zero Gadget, that's what we were after. Let's go on to your next one then. Here you go.
I think it's easy one.
Mozzie cam.
Mozzie Gadget.
It is Mozzie's gadget. Yeah, shooting a pest. That's quite an easy one.
Yeah.
Let's see if you know what this one is.
It's a gadget?
Yeah, it is a gadget, yeah. I'll play it again for you.
Is that a bandit charge?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
I got it. I think it's a Capcan.
It is Capcan, but what is Capcan doing?
Putting the trap.
Is he putting it in or taking it out?
Oh.
Ooh.
I think taking it out because the sound of the noise it has at the beginning. I think taking it out.
It is taking it out. It is. This is a good one.
Pulse scanner.
It's a Pulse one.
It is Pulse, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Pulse pulling out his gadget. We've all done that. Okay, let's go. Let's say two more. We'll go for two more.
Sure.
Okay. This is one. This is tricky. Let's see. This is the tricky one. Let's see if you can get it.
I don't think it's a gadget. I think it's switching burst to single to many shots.
One more time.
One more time.
Observation blocker?
Zofia gadget.
Sophia gadget?
I don't think so.
It's Hibana's.
Hibana.
Changing the pellet count. Okay, let's go for one more, and then we'll wrap it up here. Let's go for this one. This is a good one.
I know this one. Jackal.
Jackal scanner.
It is Jackal scanner. Yeah, easy one. So thank you, Iconic. Well, thanks, Joker. And that is another episode done for What's That Sound. We'll be back again with another one.
Welcome back to the STC Takeover at Gamers8 featuring R6. I'm Ginny, your host on the desk with Anne and Fresh. Did you guys get all those sounds right?
No.
No, I was wrong on the very first one, and Anne was completely correct.
On every single one.
But then every other single one we got.
No, Anne got every single one.
No.
And Fresh was.
She's a genius.
No. I'm like trying
to like get my back.
Like,
yeah,
all right,
no.
still. Well, and you were also wrong in the prediction when it came to Falcons being able to secure out this game because NiP were the ones to close it out in overtime with an ace.
Yes, well, I'll happily be proven wrong if this is the kind of entertaining seats that will be get in return.
Absolutely, yes.
And it started out all the way in the ban phase, right? I mean, the previous map, Valentino was here saying, oh, Chalet, NiP was really utilizing the clash. It made us really slow. Like, we couldn't get first. We couldn't get rid of that clash. It really slowed us down. What do Falcons do coming into Cafe? They ban clash. I think it's an absolute genius move. It allows them to be a little bit faster on their own attacks. And then on their own defenses, I feel like this is the kind of playstyle that we wanted to see from Falcons. They were being a little bit more aggressive. They were hitting these NiP players where they were expecting them the least. So backstabbing, some players are getting away with murder, runouts, which we probably didn't even see a lot or at all in that previous game between Falcons and NiP. But this helped them to secure a few more defensive rounds than they did last time because that's when they do that well.
Despite the fact it's the same result as we saw these two teams play on this same map yesterday, so much better performance out of Falcons. You could see just by the way that NiP celebrated of that map win. Of course, they're still in the tournament, and that's part of the reason they're celebrating. But on another day, they don't win that 1 versus 2 right at the end for Pino and actually go through to a map 3. So I think much improved from Falcons in terms of their aggression, like Anne says, the jump outs, the coordination, and just playing their own game. They're definitely back. They're definitely competitive inside of this best of 3. And first and foremost, it was very, very entertaining, that map. I'm excited that we are actually going to a 3rd map.
Yeah, Falcons locked into that zone, and they're definitely giving us a much better performance than we've seen on the server yesterday. But NiP, on the other side of things, they are just as equally locked in on this map specifically. I mean, the fact that it had to go all the way to the OT 8-7 for us to be able to close it out, that was quite an incredible performance. And Anne, I can tell you are shook.
Yeah.
So explain the shookedness.
Oh, why I'm shookness is if I look at the scoreboard for NiP, this was not really what I was expecting. Because halfway through the game, it really looked like Wizard and Cons were carrying that weight. Cons maybe not the first name in that conversation when you think about players on the side of NiP that really step up, carry the weight on their team. But it feels way more even out. I mean, obviously Pino's ace at the end does really help to even himself out towards his teammates. But I feel like we've been talking about different players when it comes to like stepping up the most, really being the spearhead off that team, but this feels kind of like balanced over all these players.
Big team performance as well, because all the way down the bottom of that scoreboard was Muzi, and he had a massive couple of rounds playing the Wamai when NiP were on the defense. So everybody was putting in that shift and a little bit more. That's what you want. It was just not as easy as yesterday, so it was a big scare for NiP.
Yeah, that's what you want and that was you need. And we also have chicken ready with Ian. So let's have a look at what they're doing backstage, because it's been an interesting break over the last couple of minutes.
It's got to be one of the craziest final rounds of Siege I've seen in a while, and it means that Ninjas in Pyjamas, who are standing behind me right now, will take this to a 3rd and final map against the hometown heroes, Falcons. Are they going to win it? NiP genuinely believe that they do. I came out here just before they had their team talk, and they said, if you're ever going to lose a map, make sure it's the first one. Somehow they managed to come back in the 2nd, and now they say they've got complete control going into this 3rd and final map. They genuinely believe that they are going to lock in that final playoff position, well, 2nd to last playoff position here available and up for grabs today. Best of luck to NiP. Falcons are going to think different.
Aw, I thought we were going to play like a game of chicken or something. That's what I heard. And I was like, it's going to be fun. No, we're just getting a look at the players. I mean, we said coming into this as well, like, it felt like NiP much more had a stern talking to yesterday. And it's just they really coming into this and thinking, okay, this is what we need, this is what we have to do. And you can tell from just the way that they're huddled together, discussing things very seriously. It's not the very laughy, jokey NiP that we saw yesterday in between the Falcon games. This is like, okay, it's time for business.
Yeah, we've said it before, they feel like they're more of a best of 3 team than a best of 1 team. That allows them indeed to lose that first map and potentially come back. And we saw it earlier today as well, right? If you think about momentum, could really be in the favor of NiP. They really scraped that victory over the line in a round where wasn't really looking like it's going to be for their favor, but they pulled it over the line eventually. Also, if you look at the perspective of the next map, right, that being Villa, the decider, if you look at the recent histories of these two teams, Falcons lost that map to D+ at the major, whilst NiP have victories against Liquid and M80. They're not the easiest or the most small teams that you're mentioning there.
And I am just going to take you on a little trip down memory lane.
Oh, okay.
And you might not know this, but what happened 1 month ago today?
Was that the Gamers Without Borders?
It was the Gamers Without Borders.
Okay.
So I'll set the scene.
Oh, it's story time.
NiP was 0-2 down in the grand final, and they had to win a map to make sure they had a chance of going through. What was that map?
Ooh, that was Villa. That was where we saw their playstyle with being aggressive, contesting control, swinging.
So they've been in this scenario before.
They have, and also the way that they closed out last map, specifically that final round, is really something that we want to highlight, because it genuinely just shows us how resilient this team is, because being down in that position and still being able to close it out to push to Villa, that's impressive.
Yeah, I think we were almost like pseudo-casting this as well in the talent room. Like, oh, this will happen, that will happen. Oh, they'll smoke the verticals so the player playing verticals can't get the control from above. Oh, that allows the Monty to walk in. They've got a strong position in closet still. And then somehow these NiP players, they step in, they get that control, they force themselves into the bomb side, getting rid of these power positions, denying the top 4 control, denying the player in closet. And then eventually the 1v2 from Pino, he isolates his 1v1s very well, but that's also due to the fact that Falcons are kind of giving him those 1v1s in that scenario.
Yeah, it was very strange from Falcons, particularly that peak coming out there from the Jaeger and leaving Joker. And then this was possibly one of the slowest 1v1s I've ever seen in my life. Very passive from both players. But I think in just the context of Cafe, when we talked about NiP, they hadn't lost Cafe in, what was it, 7 games, 6 games? And I think... 7. Yeah. So I think the fact of the matter is when you... And it was a brave call from them, by the way, because they had the choice in overtime and they wanted to start overtime on the attack, which means if we went all the way to 15, they would be attacking it. They knew to bring out the Monty, they knew to bring out the Capital that facilitated that push into site, and then Pino has made an individual play that's won them that entire game. But when you're so good on a map, like NiP are so good on Cafe, you know so many intricacies of how to just pull a round out when you need it, and that's exactly what NiP did in that round 15.
Yeah, but we're going to be going on to Villa. That's the final map of the series, and it's going to be very much down to, if it's, again, very much down to these individual players getting these rounds on the board, it's looking a little scary because will Falcons allow it?
I mean, if you talk about individual players on the side of Falcons, right? I mean, we've talked about P9, how he was unleashed, how he was able to play the game like he wanted to, but was he the top fragger of today's game? No, it was actually Quibs. And Quibs we're seeing more on the support role player, so is he really the one that should be stepping up and should be carrying the weight of the team? And yeah, if you talk about the playstyle indeed from NiP on Villa, which has been really aggressive, we've seen them in some instances even overpeak the M80 players yesterday, really scrape that victory over the line in that 8-7 game as well. I do hope that Falcons punish that, and similar to M80, well, they saw after a few rounds, oh well, if NiP's gonna swing, we're just gonna hold our lines of sight and you'll walk into my line of sight and I'll shoot you.
Sure, indeed, and that's what they did. And now we're going to be looking at this final map. I think Villa in general, do we want to throw in predictions? Do we want to go 50-50? Do we want to jump on a hype train for either one of these teams?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, well,
I'm just going to wait and see.
Recent history does not guarantee success for the future, but it does look like NiP have solid results on this map. They've also played it yesterday, for example, and they have the momentum in their favor. That's two things I think are really important for the outcome of this game.
I think when you add in what Anne just said, the fact that they've also got that resilience, they've got that kind of bounce back ability of being able to be down and out in the first map and then come through a best of 3 and come through a tournament where they're facing extinction. I would favor NiP just because of that factor, adding in that experience into this roster.
Also,
I think, you know, the quality of the two teams is very similar.
Yeah.
But I would just back NiP just on that experience point.
All right, so it's here because NiP's historical performance under pressure that we're thinking that they have the upper hand.
But then again, does experience really matter that much if you're Falcons and you literally beat the current reigning world champions yesterday?
That's true. And they are also resilient. You know, look at how bad they were yesterday in the game 1, going through to the game 2 that they played yesterday against the world champions. They were absolutely excellent. So form might go out the window.
They might indeed. Well, that's our final game of the series. We'll be heading into Villa, the final match that decides which one of Falcons or Ninjas in Pyjamas goes home and who gets to go to the playoffs. Will this be the beginning of the Falcons' revenge arc, or will NiP stop them right in their tracks? Find out with Demo and Ollie on the mic.
Hello everybody, we are here for our third and final map inside of this best of 3. Ginny and Fresh, thank you all very much for your kind words. Kind words? Were they kind words? I don't know. Wise words, we'll go with.
Anne and Ginny had some wise words.
You're not thinking Fresh was wise words? Who? Fresh was sat on the fence there a little bit, wasn't he? Didn't want to give a prediction. Sounded like you, really.
Me?
Yeah, you never like giving a prediction either.
No, I don't know.
Difficult one to call this though. Falcons versus NiP. Well, you've got the up-and-comers versus some seasoned veterans on the other side.
I'm going to use your logic.
Go on.
Map who wins, or team who wins map number 2 wins map number 3.
It is usually a good little benchmark to roll with inside of a best of 3. We don't often see a team come back, especially after it's such a long, drawn-out affair like Cafe was.
Obviously, Villa yesterday for NiP was a win, but a hard-fought win at that. It wasn't the cleanest from them. M80 struggled, NiP struggled. Some cracking rounds in that game, of course, but NiP, I think, probably, I would say they choked it more than probably what M80 did. I think there was more times where M80 were able to come back from behind, and that's obviously going to be down to NiP just throwing.
Yeah, I mean, NiP have been thrown a lifeline here. Oh, look at what we've seen. We've finally got it. We finally got the castle ban against NiP. Falcons choosing to remove the castle here.
Yeah.
NiP love a castle. It's present in a lot of their defending setups. So it does make a good amount of sense to take it away. Obviously, we won't see the true impact of that until the first 6 rounds have been played. And of course, NiP will switch on to the defense as they start tonight here on Villa on the attack.
They do indeed. Aviator and Games is our first bomb side up. Villa as a generic map, Ollie, we've seen it kind of develop over time, where it was kind of very slow. You had to take this, then you had to take that, and then you kind of try and execute, but it's a little bit tricky because they're C4s that you have to burn through. I feel as though teams have really picked up the pace now in Villa. We see teams enter in very early towards that top floor, maybe getting into a bedroom, taking the opening engagements. Study take towards main stair it's kind of thing of the past now, isn't it? You don't really see that as of much. I think basement has really came into fashion. A lot of teams have been sending players down there. Late rotates towards basement as well have worked well. So yeah, there's certainly a lot of options for the attackers compared to maybe what there was, you know, a few years ago whenever we first seen it get introduced naturally. NiP, you know, we've seen a little bit of their lineup. As apologies everyone, we do have a crash, a bit of a rehost. Again, do we blame Medic Sneezy for that again, or?
I don't know, it's been a bit of a recurring theme, isn't it?
Well, they've got a new Disciple with them at this event as well. They've got Sky, who comes all the way from Australia. Friends with our good friend, Mr. Dev Martin as well. He's one of his boys.
Very nice.
Takes them all around the world traveling. He loves it. Saying you love traveling with Dev Martin, well, that makes one of us.
Well, we'll get ourselves back into the game very quickly, I am sure. There's not too much to rebuild there, given that we haven't seen the conclusion of round number 1 yet. We only got to see the first couple of seconds, really, of the setup. It will, of course, have to be the same site. Same operators, same utility. I don't think that this is really going to benefit either side in the grand scheme of things, because they know what you're going into. You've not really seen too much. We're likely going to be seeing that top side clear from NiP, getting themselves into bedroom, as you say. We don't see the sort of study take all too often. It's still very important to have somebody in study or on the balcony.
What you do is you take whatever it is you want to go for. Maybe take 90, take red stairs, yada, yada, yada. And then roughly around, what, minute mark, I would say, that's where we get the rotate in then.
Yep.
Just to apply pressure from study. You have to remember, if you've taken red stairs and you've taken 90, you're trying to go for a maps plan. The issue with maps is you are walking into 2 different angles. You have the guys in sight behind the bar, but then you also have, if there's a player in study, he can lock you down from the doorway. So that's why you need to add in that extra layer. Again, this is how the meta is. You need to apply pressure from every possible angle you can find.
That's something that NiP have been kind of good at in some rounds, and they've been kind of bad at it in others.
Consistency has been an issue.
It has been a little bit of a problem. Getting a little reload, we're getting some drinks.
Just to stay.
Some coffee, maybe?
Yeah, nice to keep the caffeine up. Chumps, getting it in him.
Getting it in him. He was sat on the floor at the start of this game. I think he was feeling it.
Oh, I would say with the kind of inconsistencies that you've mentioned about NiP, he's a little bit stressed with me.
It must be really difficult to watch.
You know, it's like, yes, it's good, but it's not as good as what we want it to be. We're getting, you know, a little bit lucky here and there.
NiP have played some rounds today and yesterday where you look at them and you go, is this the best team in the world?
Mate.
And then they just fall off a cliff the next few rounds.
NiP, we've always said this about NiP. NiP are a team where sometimes you can't understand how they've won the map. You can't understand how they've won the game. You look at SI21 run. I'm still figuring out how they won that competition. You know what I mean? Because it was just clutch after clutch, impossible wins after impossible wins. That's what Magic's made. That's what dreams are made of.
It really is.
That's what powers this game, everyone. Dreams.
Well, it looks as though we've got everyone back into the lobby, so cross your fingers and toes. Everything runs smoothly from here on out. As mentioned, it will be the same site. It will likely be the same operators. I'm trusting the players at this point because I cannot exactly remember
missing a lion.
all 10.
There was a lion in there.
Is there a lion in the lineup?
Hang on a minute.
Hold up.
I demand a recount.
Second. Did we have the Frost first round? Don't recall. We'll leave the admins to do their job and we will do ours. We will just talk about what we see on the screen in front of us. We are going to see that extension over into the master side. Got a couple of reinforcements there on the study wall. Little Cade Claw to provide a little bit of security, and JLad is going to go in and just place a couple of those very frustrating frost maps.
Yeah, happens the odd time, haven't we? I think NiP, we've seen On Villa, it's certainly something that has caught them up in the past. Even Falcons, they sometimes struggle. Everyone struggles against Frost, doesn't it?
Everyone struggles against. If you look at the, I'm not sure what the stats are as of recently, but I know historically it's always been a case that the Frost actually catches more people out the higher the elo you get, just because you've got even fewer seconds to respond and all of those sort of things. So yeah, it is something that usually catches people out because you don't want to take your eyes off the angle.
Let me fill my stats guy. Hey Siri, call Jesse J Chick.
Your phone will actually do that, so you need to be careful. It does appear as though we have another rehost underway. The game doesn't want us to play Villa tonight.
Nope.
What do we do? Do we just toss a coin? Do we have rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, both of them in.
How are we gonna whittle these two teams down to one?
So what we do is we'll combine the teams, and then they go on to play M80.
I think we could do something that's never been done before.
Not M80, they play BDS.
You could have 5 players that play defense, 5 players that play attack. We take it like NFL do.
Who would we have and what? I would say attack NiP, defense Falcons.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that'd be a good team.
I'd say so. That's actually one of your better ideas you've had. Actually, would be very interesting.
It'd be a great show match, that wouldn't it? It'd be a wonderful show match. You've got 20 people. You have 5 people on
10-man
each side.
rosters.
Yeah, 10-man rosters. Split down the middle. Your brain's ticking now. You're thinking like, how can we game show this?
I'm trying to think. You know, can I make the most busted team in the world?
Well, probably. But then, right. So look at some of the best players. Who would you have on what side?
Well, I have W7M attacking.
Right.
That's a guarantee. And then defense-wise, who would I stick in defense?
But I'm talking if you could mix teams.
If you can mix teams.
Well, that's when things get really.
Then you're just asking me to pick 10 players, 10 of my favorite players. No problem.
No, but they've got to be like stand out on attack or defense. So, for example, someone like Brede, I would pick him for defense.
Well, right. So if we're going,
or would you pick him for attack?
If you're going for defense, you're sticking in Brede.
Yeah.
He's straight in, right? I think then you're probably looking at KZ.
Right. We've got to have some players out of this game as well.
You need a castle or psychos there.
Or if you need a dock.
Or a dock.
If your lineup's going to include a dock, maybe we'll get Psycho in on the action. I think we are loading back into the game now. Yes, right. 3rd time is a charm, surely. Lucky number 3.
Again, there's no Blackbeard in that lineup. Look, Lion's back. He was there. Look. These boys think I'm getting old.
And now we haven't got the Frost. Maybe that was the problem.
No, was that the issue?
Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah, it was the wrong lineup.
So Medics has just confirmed it was the wrong lineup from defenders.
We're not going crazy.
We are not actually going. That is really satisfying now. I'm actually relieved. I don't feel like I've lost my mind.
Hey, they've tried to pull a fly one on us. I'd say if it wasn't for us probably picking that up, that could have went. That could have went through.
I think that went straight to the top as soon as we said it.
Honestly.
I think that Medics got on the line and was like, look.
If Demon always saying it must be right.
We've spotted a problem. But at least we've got everything correct this time.
He's took the credit. That's the issue. Medics just took the credit for that. He thinks he's chief admin now. Telling you.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I almost don't want to start talking about it just in case. I don't want to test fate. I'm
waiting for
sort of watching it with bated breath.
Oh, Okill's maybe going to go for the... Is he going for the 90 window jump out spawn peak? This is a classic. I don't know what he's watching for. Watching for something, but I don't think anyone's home. You know, Falcons, obviously we've seen last game, they're not afraid of the old spawn peak, and I actually did catch NiP out by surprise.
Yeah.
One of the main points that I made before we came into this series was the opening kill department and how strong NiP were against Falcons yesterday. Today it's been very equal.
Yeah, it feels
It's been a great entry battle today.
It's good to see that Falcons have corrected that as well, because that would have been real easy to just sort of keep falling into that trap. Passage into Master isn't a given this time. You're really going to have to work for it.
No, obviously there was walls being reinforced, then you have that long angle onto the walk-in window. If anyone tries to go for the jump in, Holly, can be shredded. P10 Roni, a strong gun really in the 1v1s, not much else though. Doesn't have the ammo capacity to do much else. That wall will be opened up with the Selma charges. Jalad can have to back off just a little bit. He can still play the same angle though, Ollie. It's not as if he's in a position where he has to run away. He can still hold on to that walk-in. In comes Abrava. Will pick up a bit of utility here and there, looking for maybe some more, and he should be able to spot it Mozzie now. He will be droned and Jalad will fall back. But look at the time, Ollie. Half the round gone, and NiP, what have they got to show for it? Oh, a
look
death.
at him go. Jalad's done such a good job of holding ground there. It would have been so easy to back up as soon as the Selma charges started to open up that wall, but instead he stuck around and he's picked himself up a kill. He's allowed now to dip himself back a little bit further toward the site. Okils didn't see the same level of success. He actually got taken out relatively early there by Cons, but a lot of damage has been done. NiP, they've spent quite a bit of the clock here, and they still feel as though they're not certain. They're still hunting these stray players.
Muzi has to try and get a kill back, and obviously 90 is going to be where he wants to try and go, but downstairs, Joker, he's been so good at just being in these weird positions, and NiP are not ready for it. And that's what you should do against NiP, just make them always think. Apply that pressure, because NiP, we know they're an easy team to crack, aren't they?
Muzi with a bit of a heads-up play there, but it isn't actually going to work out for him. I think he thought he could catch Joker off guard. Joker has since activated that Fenrir gadget, so potential there for Cons to struggle. P9, he just Ferrari peaks onto Psycho. And Cons, he's got a lot of work to do here. The gadget going to give his location away, going to go for a full rotation here, and he gets caught from Fenrir Trap into Malusi Banshee. Not the best position to be in, especially with the time available. Only one Falcons player needs to stay alive. There's going to be 3 that peek him. P9 picks up that final kill.
Yeah, Jalad, I think, done a lot of work at all in the early game. It runs down the clock for NiP. We know that's their old enemy that they always have to go against. And yeah, then Joker downstairs just sat in these wrap positions that works really well against NiP. And NiP have already showcased today that they will just get flustered. They will panic, and it will just set in that they need to do something. A perfect example, of course, was Muzi. Just bare necks it right down the main corridor, doesn't even think about it, and just gets shredded as he does so. So Falcons, a good start for them. NiP, a little bit too slow off the mark. They need a bit more cut through as they start to move their way in through bedroom. It shouldn't be taking them that long. They didn't even get a kill for it as well. Just a bad round overall from NiP. If you start off bad, it's a big likelihood that you probably will finish bad.
2 frost mats on the walk-in window. Of course, the frost.
You get the first and then the second guy.
Well, you're going to get both. Can't shoot them both. But you can.
10 seconds to go.
Gotta be quick though.
If you're quick enough.
Gotta be quick.
5 seconds left.
See the pulse come in and the Valkyrie. So a lot of information. And you know, what's one operator that we've talked about that Pino has played non-stop on the attack?
Flores? IQ. Muzi plays a lot of IQ.
Is it Muzi?
It was Muzi yesterday.
Yeah, it was Pino today, wasn't it? Pino's playing a bit of IQ.
They play anything. Very flexible.
And you just think, where is it today? Or in this map?
No, they've left it in the back pocket, and I don't think you can afford to do that. You know that Solus is going to be a perma pick by Okils. I don't really think he's played anyone else on the defense.
I can't think of one that
he absolutely loves that P90.
2 C4s. 3 ways of, honestly 4 ways if you throw in the bulletproof of getting that information to abuse said C4s. P9's got out of dodge, was looking for an early engagement in towards bedroom, doesn't get anything from it though. NiP pretty direct in what they want to achieve. No wall denial, so it's quite easy for Cons to open up everything. Getting the wall open isn't like the hardest thing for the attackers. It's something that should happen every single time. The main issue is actually trying to clear out the back of Trophy. I think Trophy is probably one of the more tougher rooms you have to deal with, because there isn't really like, there isn't a great way of dealing with players inside of Trophy other than taking a gunfight. It's very rare you would see like, oh, there's going to be a perfect nade set up for this, or a stun, or a smoke grenade will go over and cover it. It's very difficult. You know, you have those kind of 2 archways. You can peek left, you can peek right. You have the middle to give you cover. You can go prone and not be seen. The only thing you have to worry about is maybe someone jumping in Wolf window, which if you jump in a window, that's already asking for trouble. Very, very difficult room for the attacker to deal with.
Who's going to try and sneak his way in through this basement here? Jalad. Ambitious C4 there. He might want to try and recover that.
I hope he finds Muzi, because Muzi could just come up and just bash the door beside him and pantry and get a freebie.
Absolutely, and Muzi knows that there's going to be a pulse play in there as well. There's only so much that you can do from below once you've spent those C4s. Okills, he'll pay no heed to the E1D and instead will just make his rotation known. Muzi, he picks his time to strike, gets a glimpse on a second. What a shot onto Okills. He can now move his way up to the top of those red stairs. J-Lad, you've got to make that rotation because you're leaving your teammate light on the site. Tries to rotate Astro, but is unable to do so. Cannot get past the player on rappel.
Muzi showcasing that basement again, and we mentioned it earlier, it's grown in popularity. During the later stages, teams will send someone down there just to see what they can get up to, and he's found 2 kills. Found 2 kills for his trouble. Falcons just didn't react quick enough for that. You know, as soon as you lose that roamer who was kind of towards red, who was, I would say, the middleman between helping the roamers and then also being able to go and help on site, you then kind of lose that reinforcement of having someone to move back in site and assist as the flood comes in.
Much better round there from NiP. It's more used to what we're seeing them do at the start of games. They do tend to start off quite strong here.
I always feel as though Psycho's like one of the most like expressions on his side, you know. Facial expressions are just in all of him.
He's very similar to Spoit in that regard.
What was the other one we were watching? It was like, he was like, the eyes were bulging out of his head and he was like scared almost. You know what I'm talking about?
I can't remember.
I think we've seen it and I think we had a good laugh at it. It was actually hilarious. And I think Spoit, he's getting along there as well with some of the things he does.
I think all of Spoit's facial expressions can just be categorized by oops.
He does it on purpose.
Yeah.
Plays up to the
Very
camera.
good at it. Round number 3, I'm going to be attempting statue and trophy again.
Yep. Bit of a different approach maybe from NiP. A lot of them spawning over towards Ruins, Ollie. Could be looking for a south side clear into study that will try and sweep across. Falcons, do they have much for it? Do they have many players in a good position? Is there a study hold that Falcons can maybe see if they can quell that attack before it happens? They will have some form of support downstairs towards living room. And I mean, Okills, he's finding out some information. He can see some players on the drones. He'll probably be able to feed this back to Jokers. There is a man inside a study. He is by himself. Unless you want to count the gadgets with him, and they might act as his help in a sense.
There's a great little early warning system in there. It's very similar to a goo mine or something of that nature. You can see the...
Speaking of goo mines, you got that as well.
Lighting up red. Muzi, successful with the nade from below. Were they stood on top of the hatch? Surely not. At any rate, the hatch is open.
Surprised.
Joker has been taken down. We might be about to see a little bit more attention here be paid into that aviator and games room area now they know that it's a little bit lighter there on defender presence. Cons has got a pretty tough task ahead of him here on that solo push.
Yeah, he has
to
to
be really cautious with that.
Let's get that wall open, but he's actually since then rotated away, so all of NiP and their pressure is actually coming in from that south side. But again, the time Ollie is going to be against them. A minute to go. Sure, they've got the main wall open, but they haven't really made an approach towards 90. They're still trying to check to make sure no one's inside study. The drones are starting to move their way in. And they've kind of limited themselves now, Ollie, to pushing doorways, which isn't the greatest thing to do. They need to get somebody rotated towards bedroom ASAP. As you can see, the defenders, they realize there's no one on the balcony, and they've retaken towards bedroom. I want to see someone rotate there. I need to see someone rotate there.
Psycho, he's got all the information that has been gathered now by both the drones and the Iana clone. 30 seconds, though. Isn't a great deal of time. P9, he may be in the hot seat here to find the first. He will do just exactly that. Doesn't hold the angle long enough to pick up onto Wizard, but can just dip back a little bit. The Lion scanner isn't going to matter. Everyone knows where he is at this point, and Cons has got a very tough ask ahead of him. Tries to push through the single door, but is unable to do so. Muzi picks up 3. One with the nade and a couple with the gun, but he's got a lot more left to find here. The kit is not in the hands of either of these attackers, and Pino is searching. Eventually, Quibs finds him. Pretty fires as he might, but Muzi is unsuccessful there. Running out of time. NiP.
Another one of those rounds that, again, I think Chubbs is going to be annoyed about. Because they started off well, they got the opening pick, they got study immediately, but they never really moved fast enough to exploit that. They sent Cons over towards bedroom. He then leaves bedroom. Defenders retake that, and then they're stuck to pushing in towards single doorways, which does not work. The map, see teams who try and push in towards north, and only north, and try and push in via 2 doorways. It never works. This angle that P9's on behind the bomb is massive. It's really difficult to go against that.
Quibs was just waiting as well for someone to hop in through that window and just hit him with the knife or whatever it might be. Falcons making it look easy there, but reacting incredibly well. It would have been so easy for them to continue to worry about that master bedroom and to think, oh, well, they might.
It was a smart play.
Wasn't
just
happening.
commit to it. You take the risk.
Retake the ground and turn your attention to where they're coming from.
5 seconds to insertion.
Back we go. Aviator and Games.
Same extension.
Well, the same extension we saw in the second time we saw the first round, which was the incorrect lineup time. But now we can bring the frost, so everything's fine.
And then now we're also seeing a study take.
And we're just going to go up main stairs.
Seeing a study take with a
Why
Monty.
not?
You've got the floors as well, which is going to be great to eliminate that deployable shield that could be sitting in top main. I mean, it's not the greatest lineup in terms of defense to really hold main stairs. You probably want like a Wamai and a Jaeger to stack up a lot of utility. But like I said, because it's probably fallen out of favor, teams don't even bother with that anymore. So Falcons have been playing, I think, a very loose Villa in terms of their roam presence downstairs. Again, Joker, who just covered every blade of grass. If this was a pitch, he would have covered all of it. The heat map would be off the charts. Oh, I'd love to see a heat map in this game. Could you imagine?
It'd be so good. It will be so good. It isn't going to be so easy to just walk up these main stairs with the amount of presence that is below here. Now, of course, we can use the Monty to bully through and to
get the info, yeah.
Get a little bit of that info and be able to act on it. But again, it isn't the easiest thing in the world. Hello, Cons!
Well, we know he's there.
He saw that at the last possible second. Right,
Don't shield. No,
shield.
No.
If you're going to unshield, play Blitz.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, at this, he gets the headshot through the soft wall. Obviously, yeah, of course. Like, he's playing Monty like Blitz. Kill down on either side, 4 versus 4. Quibs. Got a C4 in hand. He's probably going to look to try and toss this onto those main stairs.
Oh, that's good damage.
Great attempt and a good chunk of damage.
Because he now potentially dies to an impact. I don't know what the damage calc is. I feel as though I've died at that HP to an impact, so I'm assuming that Cons will also. It depends if O'Kill's in the position to do so. You can see this information. They're actually using the Monty as a human drone to feed him information off sound cues to where Pino has to buck. Love it.
It'd be great if Psycho was still alive and had a couple of nades for this as well, because then you'd really be able to start causing some problems. Pino can open up the lines of sight, but players can move, and it might not have the desired effect. Cons, he can sneak his way in. Pino, he's got a big job to play here. For all the information that he's still got work to do. Moose is going to get taken out there by Joker. Wizard, he's pushed up toward 90. Maybe looking for a little bit of a backstab here. Cons finds himself a second kill on the round with the pistol. Where's the support? You've got to come in here, Wizard. Pino, he's there to back his teammate up, and O'Kill's is now left to try and fend this plant from going down. Cons, he's over 50% complete with the plant. He's got a little bit of information onto Wizard's location, but instead has to hit that reload. He's going to navigate through, past these main stairs potentially. But with the Monty, it's very difficult to lose a post plant. Even if you get into that 1v1, you can always just bully the defender. O'Kill's trying for all he might, but NiP, they don't need to do too much here. Pino, he's going to be rewarded for holding the long angle. Psycho's pleased with that one.
He is indeed. Cons. Honestly, I love that play from the Monty, using that information with the buck below. It made it look so easy. It's a great way of clearing in towards the back of bar, even towards Vault as well. And, you know, again, he's very risky, going for the pistol kills. But it did force, like, the guy was just in the middle of the room. It forced him in because he was getting buck below.
He's getting buck below. There's pressure coming in from that side. You've then got the Monty, which is always just going to add that level of, oh my goodness, what do I do?
Yeah.
Really well played. I think it's just stressful to watch. I think you just think of the Monty as like, just extend your shield, just stand there and be annoying, feed the information. The pistol is the weakest part of Monty. Yeah. Dropping the shield and getting the pistol out is the weakest part of Monty. It's the most vulnerable position that you can put yourself in playing that operator. And Cons does it and gets kills with it, and it's just stressful.
It is. They went for it again. They brought in the Monty. Wouldn't be surprised if they try maybe the same push. Like, they got control of Study and main stairs like immediately just because that's what Monty does and that's what he's really good at.
They don't have the book this time.
They don't have the bucks. That does lead us to believe that they will try and go for a sweep. So let's see how the other end of the map will do them.
The Monty would be really beneficial to be dealing with the sort of reinforced wall, and if we think back to how JLab was playing on the Mozzie in one of the early rounds, dealing with that player inside of Statuary.
It's the information that I think is so key for NiP. It's if they know where a player is, you know, they will exploit that. I think the Monty is a part of that. It's a part of this side. You know, sure, we may sit here and joke about, oh, they always bring the Monty and old reliable and all this. But they are a very strong team with it. You know, they're up there with one of the best in the world. As a Monty side, there's only a few teams who can do that. And not just do it, but do it extremely well. And I think NiP fit that category.
A lot of offside presence here from Falcons. Psycho, he'll be rewarded in the opening stages of the round. Hanging around the bottom of those main stairs at main entrance. Wizard, got a nice line of sight in on through concrete door. This is where you're going to be looking to try and get your Monty in, start to feed a little bit of that information across, but as the Monty goes in, the Monty will be taken out. O'Kills finds him there from below. Great use of the impacts.
Muzi is in, looking to see if he can gain control of that top red and walks into the frost mat. It was coming, we knew it was coming, it had to happen.
He's got the diffuser as well. The diffuser's just in no man's land right now. O'Kills picks himself up a second. He can go for a full rotate up main stairs if he wants at this point. He's done his job and more out there on the roam. Psycho and Pino, they've got to try and pick up the pieces of this shattered round. Really isn't going to be easy. There might be a minute left on the clock, but look at what they've got to wade through here, Demo.
It's a mire. It is a mire of futility. Gates, barbed wire, a DMR waiting for you. And Pino all by himself. I mean, NiP, they've tried to almost orchestrate a similar play where, oh, let's just send the Monty in and let him do work. Hasn't happened this time around. I think the Monty is more suited for that study take because, again, it's a lot easier to control, I feel, for a Monty. Moving in towards, you know, main stairs where, you know, you have to watch like one angle. Whereas if you move like a Monty into this position right here where Pino is, that's like, it's a crossroads. There's 4 different angles you have to worry about.
Pino's done a great job to collect the diffuser and pick up a couple of kills, but you just can't help but think this is going to be too difficult to pull off. And there it is, we're right, the clock at his back, pressing him forward. And Quibs on the other side, waiting to collect. Falcons, they grab themselves around.
3-2. Final round of the half. NiP, they'll get a chance to go on the defense soon enough, and we'll see how that castle ban obviously influences them. You know, that's just, again, just trying to get the Monty in too quick. Not checking things.
Yeah, that was when the round started to fall apart, wasn't it? You bring in the Monty, you've got a very clear idea. There's not a lot of room for plan B and C, and you can't afford to lose it like that.
Yeah, it's like trying to organize something for a person and they don't show up. Let's say I organized a surprise birthday party and you didn't show up. What's the point?
I mean, it wouldn't be as much of a problem because you'd still be able to have a party.
But you're not there. Oh yeah, what am I supposed to do? A big banner that says Happy Birthday Ollie.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I don't know.
Wasted money on that.
5 seconds.
Capcan. Is the Capcan the answer?
Who can?
I don't know if there's a sort of dying need to bring the Capcan. I kind of like it from JLab.
Look at Psycho. Here we go. Look at the lineup. I think it comes in as well. So, this is where I do fear for NiP, because we've seen them do it yesterday, but is this the right time where they go for it? Mostly because I'm seeing Capcan traps, and that's an issue if you're a blitz. Yeah, it's it's probably a good idea from NiP, but it's bad timed in a sense because they have the Capcan. One thing as well that they've also decided to bring in is for the Finka, and the thing about Finka is good for the rush is not only do you get the extra HP boost, but the odd time in the rush, there will be downs that will happen whenever you're dealing with gunfights. The revive can be massive as well. People forget about that.
Yeah, the revive can be the difference between winning a round and losing it if you get someone up in a fortunate position. Look at Muzi moving his way up the pantry stairs, moving quite quietly. I don't think anyone's got any idea that he's coming. P9, he's going to suffer. Muzi immediately hits the boost, and that's almost the go button here for NiP. Psycho, he's going to try and get himself in on the action. Muzi's not got a great deal of health, but he's going to push on regardless. Stuns getting sent out as well as JLad tries to work vertically. We can see there that Wizard, he's reluctant to push himself in, but kills are going to fly in for Joker. He picks up one onto Cons, one onto Muzi. Well, where is the blitz in this fray? You're expecting the blitz to be the spearhead of this push, and it just isn't happening. Cut down by O-Kills, leaving us in a 2 versus 1. JLad, he's got a lot of work to do here, levels things up. Look at the time that's left on the clock. There is an eternity here for this 1 versus 1.
Look at the HP. Not a lot between both of them. Pino has a singular flashbang. His disposal will flash him, and no, JLad swings at the perfect time. A huge 1v1. NiP, they've attempted a rush. It hasn't worked. Falcons have stood their ground, Ollie. And now they lead with an even heftier gap.
4-2 split at the half. It's a substantial lead here for the Falcons moving into their attacking phase. And it all started so well.
I have to question Psycho. I didn't see enough of Psycho in that round where we should be. I don't agree with sending Psycho in through Memo. I think if you're sending the blitz through anywhere, it should be in towards Pantry.
Yeah.
That should be straight in Pantry stairs, because then you get a kind of like, you just get like sit behind the bomb with a shield. You get to call information then from that stage as well. If someone comes down China, you rush at him. You have very little to worry about.
Falcons happy with the way that they played that one, and they should be. Moving now on to the attack.
Cover the location of a bomb.
Now, if we throw back to the start of this game, we were saying that Falcons have banned out the castle. The castle being something that NiP have really shown quite a liking to. Maybe not for aviating games, but certainly in trophy and statuary, it's something that they would play. So it's going to force them to change things up just a little bit. A little cheeky frostmark behind the vault wall as well, or the vault door, should I say. So it was a horrible one for those last second moments in the round.
We have the observation blockers coming in for NiP, which is a strategy that we've seen them use yesterday. It worked really well against M8. M8 struggled massively with dealing with that top red stairs. It's a position where you will see a lot of traffic with the drones, and comboing that with the mute jammers, it's a deadly combination. It just means there's no vision towards that side of the map.
Real similar to the way that they use them on Cafe inside a shop as well. It feels like a very similar area of the map, you know, top reds, Cafe shop, like it serves that same purpose. It's not somewhere that anyone spends a great deal of time as an attacker, but you do tend to use that as a springboard to moving on. It is often a very key place to try and get clear, especially if you're going to put a drone in and around that 90 corridor. You're going to lose a lot of value out of that flank drone.
Falcons now. See if they want to eye up this main stairs push in towards study, of course. They have to go for the Wamai. Wizard is in good shape, has plenty of utility. This is what I mean. Teams will sometimes bring in the ADSs, will bring in the Wamais, has the shields. Using the vertical angles, Cons eliminates JLad, and down goes the Flores drones, and Cons in for another one, but almost gets taken out. P9 was ready for him.
Be careful on those reverse angles.
Stuck in a 4v5, Ollie, and I think for Falcons, you need more pressure than just walking up the stairs. You need to see some players in towards study now.
Where's the info? You should know that somebody's playing at the top of these stairs. You can't just be walking up there on a guess and a prayer that, you know, it's going to be clear or that Wizard's going to be looking the wrong way. Joker, he's now going to try his hand and move himself up, but he's going to meet the same fate. Wizard, the master of the stairs, nobody shall pass. He's taking a good chunk of damage, but he's got a couple of kills for his troubles. Quibs eventually swings in and shuts him down, but it feels like a little bit too little, too late. That needs to be working in conjunction with the first player that's going up the stairs.
Yeah, no kills. Finally has control of said stairs, but at what cost? They've lost their entire army to try and get that position. Quibs has walked his way in towards stunning. I'm surprised he hasn't been swung from the doorway at the moment, but I guess it's Muzi trying to just get back in towards bomb site. He was the player towards top red, which we mentioned was a strategy that NiP like to employ, but Falcons now, they're running out of options. There has been a down. Pino is on the floor struggling. Will be finished off by Quibs, but with 10 seconds to go, Ollie, with positions being unchecked. There's a C4 from Cons, and Quibs just trying to look for that Jaeger, but no, Muzi's there with a swing. Chubbs is loving that one. Good round to get them back in the swing and things for his defense.
Very important to win that first round, especially when you're 4-2 down. You don't want to let that slip too hard. Keep it level, keep it to within a round. And I think it just goes to show Falcons with that approach. That's one of the reasons why we very rarely see a study-sided approach anymore, because taking those main stairs can be a nightmare. If you don't bring a shield, if you don't bring a load of utility to get rid of that player at the top of main stairs, you're going to have a tough time. And Wizard showed us exactly why. If you're not going to bring the shield, you're going to have to push through Master.
Yeah, I think with that lineup, it's a lot easier just going from the sweep, isn't it? It just is. You need a lot more of an oomph, I would say. I mean, Ying is up. Ying's a great operator if you want to go for the study side.
Oh, there's so many options available for going for a study side, but you can't do it with such a, I don't want to use the word basic lineup, but there's nothing in there that makes you go, oh, that's the spearhead. That's what we're going to play around. You know, we're going to play around the Blitz Shield, we're going to play around the Glass, the Ying, whatever it might be. There's nothing in that lineup that Falcons are bringing that you're thinking, yeah, let's play around that.
10 seconds to go.
Means they pay the price, they lose their first attack. Now they have to try and go up against the trophy statuary, mixed in with, of course, a generous helping of reinforced walls towards the Aviary Games, as there will be a form of defender presence towards that side of the map. It's what we like to see, and it's what we expect to see from NiP. They fully reinforced triple wall I haven't seen that in a long time, Ollie. I suppose they have the Kite Claw, which, with Thatcher being banned, and it's almost you're taking the risk and seeing, you know, will they play impact EMPs? Falcons, I don't really think have been interested in that today. They've been all about the nades. We've always seen them run 6 sets of nades. So it would be very rare to see them even, you know, orchestrate a hard breach, let alone EMP grades.
Yeah. Hard breach isn't really something that's on Falcon's radar. It isn't something that's in their arsenal.
They've read into it, it's good.
The fact that NiP have read into that is fantastic, because it makes Master really difficult to contend now, because again, you're just getting pushed through single doorways.
That's it. It's single doorways for that bomb site. On both, you have issues with. You have to walk through Astro. You have to walk in through, obviously, Concrete Door as well. It's not easy. It just isn't. And again, all them doors can be held by Trophy, which is the most important room and the most difficult room that you need to try and gain control of. Looks as if they're going to probably try and clear out Trophy from below using nades, as once again Falcons have got their players in position. All they need now is a bit of info. You always say there's some issues sometimes trying to go for the vertical nades with the big long logs, isn't it, in the ceiling?
Villa can be a tricky one for the vert nades. You think of it as a map that's got so many options for vertical nades because so much of it's destructible, but what you've got to remember is, if you look at the ceiling, it's horrible. It's a maze. It's not flat. You've got to be really careful about where you bounce those nades off. Fortunately for J-Lad, he's pretty good at it, and he's able to take Psycho down on the first attempt.
Psycho's having a rough time, bit of a stinker game from him, 1-6. Loses out on the nade, and well, Wizard, he's tried to gain the kill back. He too has been eliminated. Muzi's downstairs. He's in the bathroom down below. Ollie, how has he ended up there? Another kill comes in for NiP. They've fought back. They've been able to quell that onslaught. The Falcons were trying to drop downstairs below. And now it is going to be an even man count as we head into the 45-second mark. But for Falcons, what have they really got control of, Ollie? It's similar to what NiP were struggling with. A lot of time, a lot of utility wasted, but what have you got to show?
At the end of the day, they're still going to have to push through this single door inside of Concrete. Quibs might know that someone's there. If you know he's there, just hit the pre-fire. It's a soft cabinet. You're going to be able to take him out easily. The laser gate will be reactivated. Joker is in position to take Cons down. Muzi has to now start to move back into Trophy here. Pino gets a good bit of damage, but not the finishing blow. It's left down to the Pino show once again, but Quibs, he's able to find the final 2 kills required. Even 3-3 at the half, single doorways or not, Falcons going to come away with that one.
Falcons didn't really do anything too flashy. They followed their protocol of going below and getting the nades. It was great nades from below, of course. And NiP really tried hard to get the kills back. But then whenever you start dragging people away, you almost lose your foothold in what you would have in the site. That's what it feels like. You know, Muzi dropping down here below, then he has to rotate all the way back in. He's kind of locked out because Joker is then holding that doorway. Quibs is holding that doorway. So them rotating off site to get the kills back, sure, you think, oh, that's good, they need to do that. But then you lose control of site. You have to try and work your way back in. And as much as what we say about the single doors working against the attackers, equally, if the defenders locked out of sight, they have to go for the same doorways.
Exactly.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I think Falcons did a good job of stabilizing there. It was a round that could have very easily slipped away from them. Stuck to their own win condition, though. They are going to bring the hard breach this time, recognizing it's probably a good idea. Yeah. But they are going to be going into the kitchen site, so there is maybe a little bit more need for hard breach on this site in particular, whether you want to get pantry wall open, whether you want to get laundry wall open.
Even a hatch if it's reinforced for laundry, for example.
If you're going to look upstairs, if you're going to want to gain a bit of ground quickly upstairs, you might want to try and deploy one of those Selmas up there as well. So a lot of options here for Falcons. NiP on the flip side, they need to start picking up rounds, Demo, because, again, we're finding ourselves in a very similar situation to we were last map.
The lineup of NiP is very aggressive. A lot of operators you kind of coincide with having great guns and great ability to move around the map. You've got, you know, just a myriad of two-speeds who are very, very potent. And speaking of those two-speeds, one of them take a dip outside Ollie. Takes a bit of damage, Kongs, and does scare away Jalad, but hasn't gotten the kill, which is the most important thing for Falcons in that engagement. They haven't lost that early player. And of course, the sledge, it's one that you want to keep around for the vertical takes.
Absolutely, and more importantly, those grenades. Jalad has been fantastic with those nades today. You're going to want to get a bit of value out of them in this round as well. A little bit different, given that you're dealing with a first floor site, so you're maybe not going to be looking at too many nades from below, but certainly one's going to be attempted here.
It's good info, because now they know he's on the table, so there's no point really wasting grenades on him.
Yeah. Oh, Muzi just misses his opportunity there. So the player fly into 90. Jalad, what is it with Jalad at the pistol today? He seems to be drawing for it more often than not. Joker, he's trying to pinch the player here inside of Games. Muzi will find him, though. Pino, he's there to back him up. Look at this teamwork, the duo, Pino and Muzi. They're going back to back with one another here, keeping each other safe and locking down that top floor.
Love it from Pino and Muzi. Absolutely love that teamwork. One's under pressure, they call for help, the other one comes to aid. Jalad, he's worked his way downstairs towards the bottom of red. But once again, for Falcons, they've lost too many players and they haven't really got a lot to go with. A minute left as well. I think NiP are in really good standing, and Psycho, has he been unchecked? It looks as if he is. An absolute freebie. 2 freebies. No, that's the ammo capacity. We've seen that a few times this tournament, Ollie. That Roni. Only the 15 bullets. It is tricky to get more than 1 kill with it.
Doesn't matter if you've got a friend like Muzi knocking around, though. He is going to be there to keep him safe. Much better from NiP. They're playing as a team here. It's like you said, Demo, they've all picked a great gun. They've all picked something that they're comfortable with, and they're just looking to play around one another and just keep each other alive, play for those trades. So far, it's been perfect. There hasn't been a single trade required. This is shaping up to be a flawless round with only 15 seconds left to go. It's kind of all on O-Kills as to whether he wants to give them that flawless round or not. Just going to be hanging around outside, waiting for that clock to run down. Not giving anyone a chance to pad that kill stat, Demo.
Yeah, not giving them an inch. NiP, good round to get back. Don't let Falcons get that momentum. We've seen they're a scary team if they're feeling confident. But NiP still behind, keep that in mind, they're still losing.
They trail by a round.
Yeah. This was great, I love this. Uzi gets one, knowing that obviously this guy swung in 90 earlier. Calls for aid, and he answered.
Let Rohan.
That's what I'm trying to reference. I'm glad you've got that. Beacons are lit.
5-4, Falcons, they still lead. Still 1 round away from match point, 2 rounds away from locking out the series. But NiP, are they on the comeback? Are they on the up and up once again here? We've seen them come back quite a few times this tournament so far. Last map was no exception. This map, starting to get those feelings.
NiP get to go for this bomb site choice, which worked well for them, mostly because I think Falcons, Ollie, we both questioned they didn't really bring the correct lineup if they wanted to go for a main stair study take. We were asking maybe a Ying would help them. Well, they've heard us. They've got the Ying.
It goes back to what we were saying. You know, they need to be bringing something that you look, yeah, we'll go and play around that. You can look at the Ying and say, yes, we will play around this Ying.
And they're going study, because the spawns, look, Ruins, if need to know, spawns are everything to know what teams are going to go for. If we've seen the majority of them spawn towards the northeast section of the map, it would be a more generic bedroom take, but the fact that we see a big group of them towards Ruins, it will be, again, a similar take where they will try and achieve that main stairs and study. But yeah, the Ying, that's what it's all about. Psycho, he's going to have to be pulled in. He's going to have to be on top of his game. He needs to be in a good position. If I'm not mistaken, Psycho kind of lingers in maps to support not only red stairs, but also can support study if needed.
He's going to be a key player here on Warden, though. Wizard likely going to feel the pressure a little bit more than he did previously. I'm not expecting Falcons to go one at a time up these main stairs. It's going to more likely be a good amount of burn and then a big old burst of Ying Candelas to try and deal with him. P9 will be below, giving himself a couple of lines of sight. This should be a freebie grenade if we can get it landed correctly. Oh, kills. A little bit lucky there with that one as Cons moved at the last second, but it's a kill nonetheless.
What's in the throwing arms today of Falcons? They've got a lot of kills from below, Ollie.
They're doing fantastically.
Heat Seekers.
Updates as well, you know, they fell out of fashion for a little bit because they did become quite difficult to do. Obviously, the damage got a little bit reworked on them. They're not always as guaranteed as you'd like them to be.
NiP, their grip does exist if needed. You're playing Doc, Psycho. What's the difference?
NiP falling like flies here. Psycho left in the clutches. Muzi fall into a Claymore, he's got it down on the stairs, will look to try and confirm it, could find himself a second, he knows everything at this point, but still gets full white flash on the Warden!
I hate it!
Oh, it happened again!
It's nothing I hate more than that! A Warden getting flashed!
That happened yesterday.
Oh!
I'm not sure, I think it might have been Psycho that it happened to yesterday as well.
Tells me so much. One thing I hate.
Chuck the goggles on. They last forever.
Just... Sorry, I got angry there. Don't know why, just something spoke to me there.
Falcons, now only one round away. Some great play inside of this round as well.
What a shot.
They had everything covered though.
They're actually going to beat NiP.
They had everything covered.
Falcons, I can't believe it. Honestly, they... blinder of a series from them.
I'm so glad that they didn't go for that main stairs push. The Ying was obviously intended for study at a later point inside of the round. So glad they didn't go for that main stairs. Just using those nades from below, gathering that information. They've been good at it. They're good at gathering that info. Tactical timeout here for NiP. Is it too late?
I feel as though it is.
NiP need 2 rounds to stay in this thing and take us into an overtime. Falcons, they need 1.
2 defenses on Villa without their beloved Castle.
Even without Castle, it doesn't seem like a massive ask.
Well, this is where Castle's really good for this bomb site. This is where NiP would use that. They would place Castle barricades on the 2 windows inside of bedroom. They would combo that alongside the mirror window. They would really fortify that position of the map as much as they can. NiP cannot do that. So I wonder what the change is going to be. Obviously, they still went with the mirror. But obviously they're not going to have that same kickback, aren't they? Obviously it's going to be the Valkyrie they're rotating in, which, you know, Psycho, obviously he plays the Castle for this. So more information, but it feels so information for Falcons, they don't really care. The way they're playing, like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that, yeah, they're probably going to go below and try and nade you. You don't need a camera to tell you that.
Yeah, Falcons aren't always skulking around the map, are they? They're quite often announcing themselves, whether it be shooting through floors, throwing nades from below. There's no secret as to where you are if you're nading from below. But it just brings a C4. So I've got 3 of them. So you'd maybe look for a bit more vertical presence. Give Falcons something to really think about in terms of clearing out that kitchen area. Or of course you can rotate into it a little bit later on into the round as well. Wizard, the roaming mirror. Why not?
Ooh, P9. a lot of damage. You can see some holes have been opened up. The NiP, again, prepping for Falcons going below. This is what I mean. It's expected for Falcons to be down here, and I'm glad to see NiP have caught on to that. They've taken out one set of nades. Wizard, is he ready to pounce? The clock chimes. Is it for him? Or is it for Falcons?
J-Lad gets chunked down as well here. Wizard playing these back stairs very cautiously here, but he's got the teamwork of Cons with him. No, gets downed and finished off. The impact there thrown as a last-ditch attempt. J-Lad, he now joins the fray. He's going to pick up that down onto Cons, but a lot of damage has been done already inside of this round. Half of it remains, and NiP, they've got double the man count available.
J-Lad, what's he going to do? Moves in, has a punch hole there, looking towards red. Does he know that Wizard's right beside him on the other side of the wall? Wizard creeps in. Is he gonna give himself up? Ooh, this is tense. Don't sledge at the wrong time. You see something. There is someone there, and will confirm the kill. Oh, Wizard, unlucky timing. I mean, it almost worked for him. J-Lad was ready to sledge that, and then I would say it probably would be a 1v4 instead of a 2 versus 3.
Still winnable from Falcons from this position. It just takes NiP to overpeak, which is something that they've kind of been known for. It has happened. Quib's going to be at the top of Astro Stairs, just has a bit of barbed wire to deal with. J-Lad put himself into bathroom here. Pino, he's going to quickly shut down Quibs. Looks as though J-Lad has a little bit of info here. He's going to try and break this down, and he's not going to be able to. Can't even transition out of bathroom there. Muzi in position to finish him off. That's half of the job done, NiP. You've just got to get one more round.
One more round. That's it. That's all they need. NiP were ready. They knew that the nades from below were going to be coming in, and they set up appropriately. Oh, that's a run out. That's how Cons got the kill. He was everywhere. Finds the kill there, finds almost a second one. Good refrag from Wizard. And then NiP obviously with not a lot of manpower for Falcons. It was difficult for them to get into a position where they could try and get into the bomb site. But NiP still not out of the woods yet. One round is what they need to take it to overtime.
Again, we look at the lineup here, and NiP have brought things that they like. They've not gone for operators as much as they've gone for guns. This is what we like to see from NiP when they're in this position. Think back to a couple of rounds ago when they played for guns more than they played for operators. They did fantastically well. They were trading off the back. In fact, they didn't even need to trade. It was almost flawless. But they were there to back each other up, and they were there to double pinch, etc. So that's really what you want to be seeing at the moment if you're NiP.
But we do see a change, though, from Falcons, probably in response. A line comes in. That's going to help them with assisting in those engagements, assisting with the roam game. So the Valkyrie cameras come in, going to be placed towards bedroom side. Again, the information as best as they can. Obviously, you can combo the C4s as well. A lot, you know, the majority of Villa top floor. I think 80% of it is C4able from below. So there is going to be opportunities for them. It's just, can they pick the right one? Falcons, I would say they're going to go pretty, you know, direct here. See the sledge already up towards the bedroom balcony. And I think for Falcons, it's probably better to go minimalistic here because we've seen the full extension just didn't work. NiP were very slippery in their own presence, like you attested to, Ollie, as well. They were very good at working in their pairs, working in twos. So if Falcons can just, you know, work less and give themselves as best of opportunity, give themselves as best of an opportunity as they can, just to do minimalistic things and still come out of a round win, that'll suit them nicely.
That's the thing, they've just got to be cautious of the C4s here once they start getting themselves in and get working.
Didn't spot the bedroom cam.
That's going to be a little bit of a problem. There's a bathroom cam up as well. It would be nice to see Quibs go down and try and get that pantry wall open and just eliminate some of the ability to sit in there. Cons, not only is he sat there with that information, but he's also got the potential of running up there and doing something about it as well. Be cautious to drone him out. Cons will eventually be found. Might just force him back a little bit. Okill's going to take the challenge, but Muzi hits him with the swing.
Pino.
Must have been full white there, or at least close to. But that goes back to, again, what we were talking about. It's not just one tracer load of bullets coming through, it's two. Joker will find the refrag, though.
Yeah, again, Pino Muzi, brilliant from them, being able to double up, pinch, take their engagements. Muzi has himself killed though, as he stayed too long towards 90. Here's the C4 rip. This is what I mean, opportunities will come to try and kill from below. But Cons isn't going for it at the moment, probably doesn't have enough information. Has he been misdroned? Surely not. The back of kitchen, you need to get that droned. You should expect for someone to be there. It's a safe position for defenders to tuck themselves in away from harm. But Falcons now, they're starting to move in towards the mid-floor alley. This is where they need to start thinking about an execute. They've opened up Laundry. They have Joker, who's now starting, I think, to maybe rotate towards the Fuse carrier, so they will have some pressure. But look at Jalad, he's actually moving up in towards the Chinas there, Zolly.
I'm not sure that they know about Cons here as well, and that could really be quite crucial if Jalad does choose to push in here. Cons still has a C4 available, and time is running out here for Falcons. Wizard takes a chunk load of damage as he tries to battle back with the players coming through. Laundry gets a very important down, but it's essentially a 2 versus 2 here. 5 seconds, diffuser cold. Joker, he's got the pistol in hand. He's found himself 3. You've got to grab the last. The pistol does it! Falcons! They lock themselves into the playoffs here.
My goodness, a double pistol kill to finish the series. The little team that could. The little team that could. The home country, the home team still lives on.
What a performance from Falcons there. Nailed by a right up to the final round. NiP, they're not going to feel good about that one. Super close series. Both maps really coming down to the wire. Not being able to manage an overtime there on Villa though, and Falcons, they get it done in regulation.
My oh my. Just too many mistakes. Too many mistakes in NiP today. I will say that I think NiP have made improvements this tournament in terms of actually keeping up with the meta, but it's the inconsistencies that's really cost them, hasn't it, this event? You know, like, sure, they look good against Falcons on the first day. I think they gave M8 a good test, but today I just think not as strong as what it was yesterday.
It almost goes like a lot of their maps demo. They started off really strong, and then they just tail off a little bit, and it takes them a while again to find that mojo. The mid-game really hasn't been fantastic. Let's have a word with our stage, though. We're going to throw it over. We're going to hear from them.
سووا المستحيل. فريق فالكونز إلى البلاي أوفس. جوكر. لازم أسولف معك. أول شيء ألف مبروك على الفوز. كنا نتكلم أنا وجوكر قبل ما ندخل المباراة، كان يقول ما فيلا ما أتوقع نقدر نفوز فيه. كانوا الشباب متحطمين شوي وكلنا متوترين، هل يقدرون يسوونها ولا لا؟ جوكر سويتوها، وش شعورك؟
والله سعيد الحمد لله. صراحة كان خاصة آخر راوند والله على الأعصاب، يعني الحمد لله إنه جاء لصالحنا، فأكيد يعني شعور فرحة وبهجة.
ما شاء الله عليكم صراحة، أكثر من كذا ما أدري وش ممكن نقول. أدائكم كان مو طبيعي. حطوا ببالكم أعزائنا المشاهدين أنهم هزموا G2 أبطال العالم في هذه السنة، وهزموا NiP أبطال العالم السابقين كلهم في نفس البطولة، فرق يومين. ما أدري وش أقول أكثر من إنه وش توقعاتك للبلاي أوفس؟ الآن أنتم تأهلتوا للتوب 4، وش ممكن نشوف منكم؟
والله الحمد لله طبعا أولا بنجهز وبنشوف الأمور. طبعا أتوقع ضدنا BDS من أجل البراكت، فإن شاء الله بنجهز ونشوف الأمور وندخل كامل جاهزيتنا، وأتمنى من الله التوفيق طبعا.
بالتوفيق لكم إن شاء الله. جوكر الله يعطيك ألف عافية، أنا داري إنه ما تبي تسوي مقابلة ودك تروح تحتفل وتنبسط، فروح الله يستر عليك. ألف شكر لك توزك على المقابلة. أعزائنا المشاهدين، فريق فالكونز سووها وقدروا يوصلون من التوب 4 معنا في بطولة جيمرز 8 في رينبو 6 سيج. كلنا متحمسين نشوف شو ممكن يقدمونه، لكن قبل ما نروح للاستوديو تحليل نتكلم عن المباراة. I'm going to send it to Ian. Ian has something to say to the crowd. Ian, to you.
Hey, Fancy! What up? Hey, can I just check? Falcons fans, are you happy right now? I thought so. You would never think the way this tournament started for Falcons that they would make it into the playoffs. They had a very shaky start to it, but they came back swinging, taking out the world champions and then taking down a very tough NiP team. You can hear the support. It's made such a huge difference to this team. You could feel the energy here in the arena, here in Riyadh. And the fans have brought something extra to the table. Guys, I've got to ask, do you think you can go all the way and win the trophy? Luckily, we've got a Falcons player in Val sitting here right next to me. Val, right? That was a roller coaster ride for you.
I don't know what to say, man. What a series. I don't know what to say. Like, the second map, holy
Hey, remember. All right, no bad language. But I will say, look, right, we were sat together getting ready for that interview after map 2, and it went all the way to the wire. You've got to give it to NiP. What an amazing team. They really kicked back and fought and took you all the way to the wire, but it was your side that showed that extra fortitude in the final map.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in the second map. We should have closed there, but like they played really, really well. Villa came and we had to just pop off. Like, we are going home, so we don't want to go home because, like, this is our tournament. We should win it.
Do you think you can?
Absolutely.
All right, well, guys, you think you can win it? Yeah, just one more time? All right, good stuff. Listen, to talk you through all of that, we've still got one more best of 3 to go as well. We've got one more playoff spot available to take. Genie on the desk, and wherever else we've got desks, we're worldwide here. Over to you.
Thank you. Ginny on the desk with Anne and Fresh as well. Actually, Fresh on desk on Twitter as well. Should get you laying down on the front.
Plug,
but yeah, no worries. I got you. Thanks, Ian, for the interview as well. I think that was a really great, valuable insight from Valentino specifically because it keeps reiterating what he said on the desk as well. There is so much hunger from the Falcon players to be able to close out this tournament on their home turf. There is so much pressure, and although maybe that pressure made them crumble on the first game and they won, it is now the fuel to their fire.
Yeah, I was really scared after that first game, like, oh, if this is that issue that has the playstyle not coming out as the way they want to do, that's a significant issue and not something you can fix within a few hours. But, well, Falcons proved me wrong in that, and I'm very happy to see that they can go back to the playstyle that they used to be playing. I think having P9, in this case Unleashed, has really helped the way he's swinging players of NiP on this map. With a DMR, when they don't expect to be swung, that is something that's so difficult to counter as an NiP player. So that coming out from P9, very, very happy to see. Another thing that was really good on the side of Falcons, you see in the top left here, the castle ban. We kept talking about how NiP like to bring out lots of castle, they like to bring out these delay operators, and with these last 2 maps, it seems like Falcons got a really good understanding of these key operators for the opposing team that they need to ban out to make it easier for themselves.
I think for Falcons, you see the fact that they are inexperienced at this level. You know, when it comes to some of the rounds and some of the games, and the fact it is so close, you know, even going back to map 2, the fact they didn't quite win that out. A little bit of inexperience, a little bit of naivety with regards to strategy. But the one thing that you cannot fault is the heart that these players have to just keep going. The confidence that they have in themselves and each other. It was a very good Villa from Falcons. They'd clearly had a look at what NiP had done, you know, in terms of yesterday as well. Countered that a little bit, just brought in little things like, say, obviously a big thing with the castle ban as well. And put in pretty good performance. I know it got a little bit wobbly there once they got to match point, but they did manage to just about get over that line.
Yeah, something Jesse mentioned earlier today as well on the desk when we were talking about this being the second matchup of today, because yes, we do have another best of 3 coming your way, is the fact that when we were looking at Siege history, when it comes to a rematch, it never goes in favor of the person who won it first. So is that down to the fact that you're just becoming more familiar with your opponent?
A bit of, I guess, being more familiar, but also probably some grudge, I guess.
Yeah, that was definitely there.
Yeah, I mean, we heard so many players like, oh, you know, we're looking forward to playing against this team because we want to get our comeback on them. I feel like it's probably the same for Falcons, right? They didn't have a really good showing in the first game. It was really dominant how NiP took that victory over them, and the way they've unleashed their players now, the way that they were able to come back with the crowd behind them as well, because let's be honest, that looked very enthusiastic from the fans in the crowd.
They got flags. Like, okay.
Chants, they were cheering. That must help a lot too.
Only one player positive on entry from Falcons there in that scoreboard. Only one player positive. The whole team, net negative. I think it was about -5 across the whole team.
Really?
They were coming from behind, and they won that game from behind.
That's all you need. You just need that one player to
pop off. A lot of heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when we spoke to Valentino earlier today on the desk, he did also as well mention, like, this is our revenge. Our last year specifically, we lost on home turf in the finals to BDS. So first, we need to win against NiP, and then 2 more games when we're going to be up against BDS again in the finals. So the heart, the revenge, the grudge that you're talking about as well, and it is there, and it is playing out on the server.
I mean, considering that BDS is the first slot in Group B, means that they play against the second slot of Group A. Now, what is the second slot of Group A? That is Falcons. So they will get their grudge match a little bit sooner than they would probably hope to. Not in the finals, but yes, they will be playing against BDS, and I feel like that should probably have the same kind of motivation as they have coming into this NiP game to beat opponents that have been beating them previously. And I mean, seeing how they play right now, I think BDS really need to be aware of like, okay, we can be swung from any kind of angle, we can get run out from any kind of angle, and it's so difficult to prepare for that if you don't know what angle it's going to be.
And if history repeats itself, or as the way Jesse says, history never repeats itself in Siege, then that means that BDS is in for a showing, potentially.
Yeah, I think so. I think, especially just on the BDS point, they're revitalized as well. They're looking incredible. Yeah. Just beating the current major champions. So it would have been very easy to go, oh, M80 against potentially W7M was the match of the day tomorrow. If BDS Falcons, that's incredible. And then just a quick word on the MVP.
Yeah, the key MVP of today, Q67.
There we go.
How would you pronounce it? Q67?
Quips, I believe.
Quips?
Yeah.
Where does the B come from?
6?
I think the 6.
Ah, yo, that is really smart. Okay, I gotta give him that, okay? MVP, Kitty MVP of the day from Falcons, but also when it comes to his name, because that's big brain.
I thought he was excellent today, but particularly in regards to the refragging department, he's a very patient player, where he's not going to go and force it. We saw a couple of scenarios where he's looking at him and he can go and force an engagement and get a 1-for-1, but he's trying to manufacture the best situations possible for his team to create 2-for-1 engagements. But then whenever his teammates have died, he's always there for the refrag as well. And I'm not surprised to see him be the MVP of today, because I thought genuinely he was having very high impact kills across all 3 maps.
I'll just look back at like the opening kills and opening death because I like to track that, but for as far as I can see, he was only opening death 1. So as a support player or more supportive player, playing Nomad, playing Heartbreach, it's really important. You gotta stay alive, you gotta make sure you tick off all things of your checklist, like you gotta get the breach, you gotta join your teammates in, gotta refrag them if they eventually die. So he's done the job that he needed to do and deserved MVP if you ask me.
Absolutely, every single player from Falcons have done the job that they needed to do, and with that they're actually qualified into the playoffs. They're the 2nd seed from their group, but still that is not small feat because the teams that were here were all top tier. NiP, however, unfortunately their run will end here and this is them out of the tournament, but we have another game coming up next, and that is another elimination game. W7M up against Oxygen. Now when it comes to W7M, there is so much pressure around that team. They won the last Copenhagen Major. Oxygen wasn't even there.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse.
You're right. I mean, they didn't qualify to that major, the major that W7 eventually went to win on. Now, if you look at Oxygen so far during this tournament, they lost to BDS that looked pretty dominant on the side of BDS. And then they took a 2-0 victory over Cyclops, where they struggled on Oregon, and they still lost 4 rounds on Theme Park as well. So it seemed like they were struggling there. I really hope that there is some mental recovery in that department, because losing 5 rounds against KAG, no disrespect to KAG, but if you do that, it's going to be more difficult to not lose rounds against W7M, because I feel like these 2 teams are a whole different caliber.
KAG are like 40 times better. Sorry, W7M are 40 times better.
Okay, fair.
So yeah, I agree with your point, even though I just messed up what I was going to say.
Okay, it's fine. It's been a long day for all of us, but we still have more Siege coming your way. Another elimination game, W7M, they are going to be going up against Oxygen. Which one stays, which one goes home? Find out.